count us in, and when I hit 1, we have to open our G Fuels into the microphone.
Oh my God.
All right.
Let's do it.
In 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Miles
Nice
Hutto
crisp.
is on the podcast.
How's it going, Dan?
Oh, go ahead and turn that a little more towards you, the microphone.
Like that?
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
I was planning on saving you until after everyone was left for college, because you were going to be pretty nearby, just in Chicago. So I could pretty much have you like most weekends. It would be super easy, but I was struggling to find a guest this week. Like there was one person that I asked. They didn't want to be on, which is perfectly understandable. I know this isn't like for everyone. Another person just didn't answer their phone at all.
And that sucks.
That did suck. And then I actually was trying to get Nathaniel on, but he was going on vacation this week. So at that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm done waiting on people. Someone can come to me if they want to be a guest. So I just made that post, and then you answered. I was like, you know what? That actually sounds like fun.
They were too intimidated. They were too scared.
That's why they didn't want to come on. That's why they didn't answer.
That is exactly why.
How you feeling? Nervous?
Oh, I'm good, bro.
You're
I'm
good?
just chilling out,
Oh,
having
yeah.
a nice time.
Yeah,
I've got
actually.
my crisp G Fuel.
Dude, the PewDiePie flavor is the best flavor. I stand by that. I will die on that hill.
Yeah, I haven't
at
had
me.
much G Fuel in my life, but PewDiePie, he does a good job. Oh,
The microphone.
yeah. I'll be careful
No,
with
it's a
that.
really good flavor. I watch this man almost every day of my life,
Yeah.
Not so much anymore, because he kind of just makes TikTok videos now.
All I saw was like, I used to watch him when like they were first like the little tiny YouTubers, and like him and like Markiplier, and they play like Gmod, and then
Yeah.
after that, like I stopped watching, and then he came back out with like the Minecraft series.
Oh, the Minecraft series was so good.
I caught clips and like things, but after he like honestly after like the whole like him versus T series and everything like that, I was just like, oh, I'm done. I'm done.
You don't
with
need
this.
that. Hold on, I'm a little paranoid that I didn't start the camera, so I'm gonna check on that real quick.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
pretty sure I did.
Oh,
Just to make sure. All right, that one's good.
dude, you sound really odd because like you're right next to me, but you're also really distant because of the camera or the
the
microphone.
Is like in your ears, but even though I'm like across the table from you. Yeah, no, it's good though, because I think with in the podcast with Nasser, he literally could not get the headphones over his hair, so he had to go no headphones, and I felt like I was interrupting him like all the time.
That dude with the afro, he's crazy.
Oh, it's his birthday today,
He
so
is.
shout out to Nasser.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Nasser.
birthday, Nasser. It's not gonna be your birthday when this comes out, but it is your birthday when we're recording it.
Yes.
So he's probably listening too.
Dude,
So congrats on being old now.
I'm gonna give him a wink.
All right, so me and Miles actually went to the good old Meyer store and got some scratch-off tickets.
Oh, dude.
These are just like $1 tickets, and Miles, do you want to explain the rules of this ticket?
Yeah. So apparently I'm the gambling.
Yeah, you're the
master
gambling
here.
master.
Yeah. So
He gets one every time at Meyer.
It's $1. It's $1. I don't go to Meyer that much. I go there sometimes, and yeah, it adds a little bit of fun after I'm done grocery shopping.
Add some spice to the shopping.
Exactly. And you know what? It paid off for me.
It
today.
did. You were telling me about this earlier.
Yeah. Fun fact. I did win $100 off of a $1 scratcher, which is pretty nice. There's
tell them the odds too.
there's 0.2% chance that I would have won that, which was absolutely crazy.
That is so absurd. But congratulations.
Yeah,
Let's see if you
absolutely.
can do it again.
Yeah, this is where we see.
Oh yeah. So I totally interrupted you on the rules.
Oh, so it's literally like the simplest thing. There's a little line here. You scratch it off. There's 3 numbers and they add up. If they add up to 7, 11, or 21, you win whatever the prize is.
Oh.
And so, yeah,
The
that's
stakes
it.
are high.
Yeah, my $1 is on the line.
All right, Miles, you go first.
I'm gonna go ahead and check it out.
All right, Miles, what's that first row?
The first row, it's 10. It would have been $200.
That's a
That's
10,
tough.
not an
That's
11.
tough. Usually, what I've found is when you lose the first line on these, you don't win the other 2 lines.
No.
So I'm not looking too great.
Let's see
take
this next
another-
row. What numbers do you have right
I
now?
got
in this-
3, 6, and 4. That is
Another
not,
10.
No, that boy.
Wait,
that's
no.
13.
Sorry, I went 3 and then 6 and then added the 4.
Let's just, you
That
have
is-
now said this on the internet.
Yep.
So.
Everyone knows I'm terrible at math now.
Absolutely. Let me see this last line. 2, 6, 5. We're done.
What
We're
does
done.
that add up to? 2,
That
2, 5. I'm sorry, I'm not paying too much attention. 13.
13.
Okay.
We're out
Rip.
of here. We're
All
done.
right. Miles.
$0 for me. I told him one of these was gonna be a loser, and the other one was gonna be like worth $2.
Yep.
So we're gonna see.
Let's see if I got the
wins.
$2.
Exactly.
I'm gonna start from the bottom
Mm-hmm.
since you said the top row usually indicates we have 2.
Yes.
Oh yes, 2. Oh, so if I get the 3,
If you get a 3, you gotta win.
1.
Nope.
Dang it! What would
Yeah.
that have been? That was the 200, the double 100 whammy. All right, second row 1.
I'm doing like ASMR into
Yes.
this microphone. With the
12.
12.
My only hope.
I've never
is
seen
an
12
8.
on it. Like that's crazy.
My only hope is an 8 right here, and a 10. Rip.
Yeah. No.
Nope,
Not gonna
nothing.
happen.
That would.
You're not looking too good, Daniel.
No, but it's the first row.
But you might win the first row.
Mhm.
I've seen it. You can win the first row, and usually it'll be like $1 or $2.
Yep. All right, we got a 6,
Mm-hmm.
a 4. Oh, if we get a
A
1 or an
Mhm.
11, that's a 5.
Well,
Rip.
you know,
All right. None of those were winners.
$2 down the drain today.
Yeah, imagine
Mhm.
going and
Mhm.
getting one of these every single time.
There's a lot of loss, okay, but when you win, it's a pretty good day.
And you know
it's
what?
a pretty good day.
You can buy 100 of these and
Mhm.
still not be in the negatives.
exactly. You know, I've
After that
now,
100 win.
and now that I've won that much, I kind of am like, I can't spend much
Mhm.
more, because part of me was just like, stop now, because this is the most you will ever have profited off of a gambling game, like ever. But I was like, now I got you either have $100, or if you have a slight addiction, you have 100 more lottery tickets. So, you know.
And this is turning into 100 more lottery tickets.
No, it's turning into like 20, and then I'm gonna win another $100. That's
Okay.
what's
All
gonna
right,
happen.
Miles. I'm excited to see it.
No, yeah, it's probably not gonna look too good. These next, that was probably the best
Mhm.
I will ever get, probably in my life. That was
Yeah.
that was
That
a kind of
100.
insane moment for me. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was with Mike, and Mike, we just like looked at each other, and I was like, I just won $100. He's like, no, you didn't. I was like, yeah, I did. And we just kind of like started laughing. We laughed for like
That's
5
so
minutes
funny.
straight. I was just like, here's my card, and she's like, oh, nice job, and she gave me $100. I was just like, what is this? What is today? Like,
Anything else good happen after that? You're the one who says that luck only goes
Uh,
upwards.
yeah, I had a nice time at Mike's. We went
Mhm.
back, and I think he just played like Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Like, I don't remember much else besides that night, because
Mhm.
it was a pretty standout moment for me.
Mhm.
And like generally at Mike's, we just kind of chill out.
Yeah, that's usually how Mike is.
Yes.
I wanted him to come over today. It would have been dope to have like both of you on the
Yeah, you
podcast
could
at the
get
same
two people.
time.
It
Yeah,
would be kind of an awkward.
yeah,
fit,
it would
but-
be. But I mean, I kind of want to get into that eventually. Just like having 2 people at once. There's a lot of people who want to come on, but bring someone else.
Yeah, you could extend the table.
I would need to get a bigger table, but I do not have the space for that. As you
I
can
would
tell.
not mind. Like if we just had like another chair, you could fit 2 people.
Yeah,
right here
it
in
wouldn't.
one,
It
like-
wouldn't be bad.
It might be. You'd need another. Do you have another set of these, or would you
I
need
have
another
other
one?
headphones, but not this exact pair.
There's one person with like an old gaming headphone on. Like,
Well, that's like what I have over there. I could just grab my headphones I use for like the YouTube videos that I make, and I can wear those and hand these off to the second person.
So then you would be
Mhm.
wearing the like
The
ultra
gamer
headphones.
headphones.
Let's go.
Yeah. Actually, these are more expensive than my gaming headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are like actual studio headphones, and
Yeah.
then And then like the other ones were just like those are like Razer headphones, just like the cheapest one that they have.
Well, I know the cost of music equipment. Trust me, that is. It
Dude,
is.
how much money have you spent on? Because you bought
Yes.
you spent. Okay, all right, yeah. Sorry, you
Oh,
talk.
sorry, no, my bad. I've spent. So I got Ableton, which is a music program, and that alone, the introductory version of it, which is like really limiting. You know, you have a track per instrument, and they limited you to 16 tracks. And if you make music at all, you know that is not enough tracks to make a full song that's got a lot of stuff in it. So that alone cost $100.
$100
just
for the intro.
The intro,
and like with all those limitations, and is it? I know with my brother bought what's it called, Pro Tools, and with like he got the full version, but with the introductory version you could also only have 3 saves at the same time.
That's crazy. I didn't have that on Ableton. You could have as many saves as you wanted, but you just couldn't have enough tracks on a single like song. And so that alone cost $100. And then eventually I got so fed up with not being able to like put more tracks on it. I saved up some money and I got some new equipment and the best version of Ableton that there was, because they have the intro, live, and then live suite. And I was just like, if I'm gonna go ahead and spend a lot of money, I might as well get the best one they have. I think regularly, because I had already bought the intro, they like discounted the price for me, but it cost $1,000 for
$1,000.
Suite. Yep, yeah, it cost $1,000 base. I think I got it for like $650 because I already got the intro, and they were like, "Oh, you've been doing Ableton for a long time. You can get a sweet deal." And I was like, "Okay, sure, why not?" So I took that. And so now I can put more than 16.
And you can put as many as you want now, right?
As much as I want on there. But honestly, that's made producing any more music that much harder for me, because it's like a lot more pressure for me to put on like a really good song, because I know it takes a lot of time and effort to do it. I have a lot of like beats and music that I just have stored in my computer, and I just can't make a song out of them, partially because I'm just like scared to put my voice out there.
Yeah,
like
I get that.
That's a scary thing to do. I don't know if I have that confidence with my voice to just like suddenly put a song on that's like me singing. I don't know. It's really hard. Eventually, I do want to get there. I don't know if I'm right there yet, though.
I think you kind of just need to get comfortable with it. Maybe you can make a bunch of songs that you put your own voice on, but you just don't release them.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable with it yet, and like just with practice and getting more comfortable with your own voice. And I think it's important to recognize that not everyone sounds like Ariana Grande.
No,
like,
I'm sure nobody sounds like Ariana Grande
except for Ariana Grande.
Exactly. No.
But yeah, like there's some like kind of like, as long as you can do okay, as long as you're passable, like you'll do fine. And like you can do auto tune, and like
that's where I struggle. Like the audio, like actual like audio, like just sound morphing, that type of thing with like your voice on like actual audio tracks, because MIDI tracks on Ableton is kind of where like I do everything, and like that's where I excel. But yeah, when it comes to like editing audio, which you're probably much better at.
Oh yeah, that's like that was like my thing when I was big into music. I was good about like chopping things up, especially like voices, and lining everything up perfectly.
Yeah, well, I remember when we would make music, and I'd watch.
That was so much fun.
It is awesome. I want to do more of it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, when we did our first song, I remember watching you on FL Studio, and you spent like an hour just messing with the guitar. And I was like, dude, I could never spend that much time on it. Like, I need to hear the music. And like you would be there like tuning the instrument electronically. It was impressive. I was like, you know, I got to learn to do this myself, because that's what makes my song like a lot better. But I liked just, you know, playing with chords. I'd always just like put a bunch of random chords. Yeah. That's where we got the first song that I was ever on. And your
which song was that? Beans or no? Or that was
Nice Guys.
Nice Guys.
Yeah, that one.
I remember that song.
Yeah, I went on your computer. I was trying to figure out what FL Studio was at the time. So I think
that was actually Mike's computer.
Oh, was it Mike's?
Yeah.
It's one of you guys had FL, and I know I was trying to play the keyboard keyboard because like that's the instrument that I play is the piano, and so that's like everything that I was working with when we were doing FL, and I know we didn't have an actual piano there, so I was using the computer keyboard to make sounds, and so I was playing the notes, and I got like this really like bass piano chord like progression. And then Mike and I were like, we're gonna go to the gas station and get some drinks, we'll be right back. And we came back and you had like totally changed. You just took the like bass chords I made and you had like this whole like chorus and like everything with it. I was like, what? we were like, that was actually like, this could actually sound really good. We were just messing around. And so I don't know. We just took off with it that day.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like I was determined to like have at least something going by the time you guys got back, and I did have some like just like it was just like simple drums. And then I don't know what I did with like the melody, but I had the chorus going and went, I'm a really nice guy, you know, no animosity here.
That first song was, I still get people telling me, well, dude, what was that?
Yeah, it was so weird, but it was fun. It was fun. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, people did not understand. Like that night, we were really just like having a fun time and like just making music. It was super nice.
Ideas out
there.
Yeah,
we literally made that in probably like 5 hours. Like
it was a really short amount of time.
Yeah, and then we just threw it out there.
And
like,
that wasn't just like, that was everything from putting together the beat, writing, recording, producing. The whole process took one night.
Yeah, it was, we just all eventually hopped on a track. It was the first time I like put my voice on anything either. And I was trying to come up with lyrics. I'm like, man, am I even going to be able to like say these things? I don't know. Like,
dude, you did really well though.
I think, thank you. I know. I mean, we're young, we're having a fun time.
Yeah,
like I was just impressed I could like rhyme.
Yeah.
I was trying to like put it together like the most advanced like words I could for an ending. I think on beans was one of them.
Yeah,
and I had one that I rhymed. I forgot what my lines were on it, but it was like. Oh, I don't even remember. We'd have to listen to the song again to remember. But one of my rhymes was like the weirdest word. It was super long, and I was like, I gotta find a word that rhymes with this.
Yeah.
So I ended up pulling up like a site and everything just to find a rhyme to use.
Oh yeah, dude, I used Rhyme Zone so often. But yeah, dude, I actually re-listened to that song very recently. It might have been like it was actually the night of the grad party. I was hanging out with my girlfriend, and for whatever reason, we were talking about like the past music that I've made. How like when we first met, that was like one of the first things I showed her. Yeah. Probably not a good lead-in.
I still have not really introduced my girlfriend to my music because I'm not as comfortable with it. I love that you're really comfortable with what you do, and like you should be because it's what you're doing right now. I really want to be more comfortable with it. There's just like, man, I'm not finished with all of it, and so it's not like very professionally like put together for me yet. So every time I'm like thinking about showing her like something I'm gonna do, I'm like, I'll save it for another day. I'm not ready for that yet.
It's really just a matter of forcing yourself. First of all, you have to finish something. I know you have like literally a list of hundreds of projects that you've started but just never really completed. You have to finish something, and then no matter how you feel about it, you kind of just have to put it out.
Yeah, like I did that a few times with my like when I first started putting out music on my channel. I don't know what to call it.
SoundCloud.
My SoundCloud. There we go. And I put out one song that had my voice on it. It actually got a lot of like very positive. Like you're like, oh, this is really good. I really liked it. And I re-listened to it. I'm a perfectionist with my stuff, and so I looked at it, I was like, yeah, that's good, but it could be better, and my voice sounded kind of odd in this part. So eventually I actually just ended up taking everything down off of my channel, or off of my SoundCloud. I took everything off. Like if you go and look at my SoundCloud now, it's just my it's all of our, I still have links to our collaborations with like the actual like stuff that I did with you guys, but I took off all the stuff that I had made that was just music, because most of my
Uh-huh.
stuff that I did was soundtracks. Like I made
Yeah.
cool sounding soundtrack or whatever, and that was when I had all worked with just Ableton Live intro, when I only had 16 tracks. And so after I got the suite, I was like, man, I could totally revamp the type of thing that I do and actually like come out with music with my voice and everything on it. And I was really planning on doing that, and then kind of like COVID happened,
Yeah.
and my whole kind of like world got flipped upside down. So my motivation completely changed, and that was something that I'm still trying to like get over now. But yeah, I'm still working on getting the voice stuff out right now. I'll really work on it with you tonight. Like I'm probably
Dude, that would
gonna
be so
do.
dope.
Yeah,
Let's do something tonight.
I want to work some more on music, because I've been working and doing a lot of other stuff. Like every single day I've had for the last, since school's been out, has been planned. Like I've had stuff going on.
Yeah.
I haven't really had a lot of time to just sit down and like do what I want to do. Like I guess I do have time to do that, but I'm so tired after a work day or whatever
I get
that I'm just like, I'm just gonna watch Gordon Ramsay yell at people today.
Dude, like I know I've already said this, but it really is just like a matter of forcing yourself. You can't be waiting for that motivation to come, because if you're waiting for it, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like a good thing is to set a goal at first. Like I have this system where I want to put out a video like every weekday, and then a podcast every Saturday. So that's essentially a video every day that I'm working on.
Yeah.
And I have to get those out no matter what. Like if I fail, then like, well, there is no failure. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to let it happen.
Exactly.
And like some days it really is a drag to like come in and edit again for who knows how many hours. But you really just have to find that time, not just find it, make that time to do what you want. And like, I wouldn't say go to the extent where you're like canceling plans with friends, or where you're neglecting work or like your relationship. Like just
no, but like late nights, like you're ready to go to bed, but you haven't done what you need to do. Like you're gonna push out and work a couple hours on your music or whatever. Because like that's passion. And those are gonna be times where you look back, and when like things actually go, you know, farther, that'll be when you'll be like,
and even if it is just an hour every night, that's an hour more than the regular person is doing, and that adds up. You know, an hour every day, that's 7 hours a week. How many hours in 2 weeks? 14. Math is not my strong suit today.
You were struggling today.
Yeah, no, or 28 hours, or 28 hours by the end of the month. That's more than a day of just making music.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you did have that habit before. You were making music like all the time.
Yeah, well, that's why I have like, gosh, I probably have, now I won't call them all songs, but I have attempts at songs, or just starts to things. I probably have about, I guess, probably close to 500-ish.
Damn!
No, you can scroll down like so far on just the list of things that I have. But the last few months, I really haven't worked as hard as I want to on some of that stuff. I've just been busy, and so it's just been something different. But I know when I originally, when I thought of the summer, I was like, man, I'm gonna have all the summer to myself. This will be great, because COVID will probably like have been farther away. I can start seeing my friends again, and just like friends and family and hobbies and music and stuff. And that's what it's been. But I have put music kind of in the back, which is unusual for me, because that used to be the front line. Like everything that I do, I'd go home, but I got some just bad habits after sitting around in my house for so long. I get used to just like when I sit down, I'm like, instead of doing something productive, I'm just gonna watch some TV, because a lot of times, like in the day when, you know, because I had to quit work because of COVID. I had to just bunker down basically for the longest time. And so when I'd get home and I was looking for not like an hour of distraction, I was looking for like 5 or 6 hours of distraction. Sometimes just the whole day, I just need to distract myself because I can't do anything. I'm stuck at home. There's nothing else I can do. And so like that in itself, I'd spend a lot of time just watching TV or playing a video game. A lot of times I played video games because that was the only way I could like interact with my friends and stuff at the time. I have no idea how much probably of Minecraft and Fortnite and Apex I played with like all my buddies and my family and stuff that like did that type of thing. And so it actually ended up being like a scheduled thing for me where I was like, man, I've got to play this with this guy at this time, and then later on tonight I'm gonna play Fortnite with all my other buds. It was just like, it was a crazy time for me. I was like, it was so weirdly scheduled. Everything was it was so random. But I worked on music during that time too, but it was also really hard for me to do it because I don't know, I was a bit defeated at the end of the quarantine. Just a lot had gone down, and you know, I was definitely a very fortunate person, don't get me wrong, but that everybody got hit in some way with like motivation and just like being able to do the stuff you want to do for yourself. And so I think everybody, I was kind of looking for the world to look a little more normal before I like got back into music, because, you know, when you're writing, especially because what I was trying to get over was like writing lyrics. And doing that type of thing. And when you're writing lyrics, you don't want to write like the world's saddest lyrics, because that's like how it is, you know.
Well, yeah, but like that, like kind of conveying that sort of, I guess, negative energy into lyrics, that actually produces a lot of really good songs, especially if you listen to songs nowadays.
Like, oh gosh,
dude, people eat up sad lyrics.
For sure. Don't get me wrong. I get worried. I would honestly be fine doing that type of thing as an older person. I get worried about putting a song out that now my mom comes running in like, Miles, are you okay? You need help? I'm like, I'm fine. I'm just like talking, you know.
That's tough. I really hate it when like my parents are watching my stuff that I do now.
It's hard because like you want to be adult, you want to be able to convey whatever you want to convey, but you're also still, we're still in that stage where you're still involved a lot with your parents, and your parents still kind of have a level of power over you. I guess,
even though you are an adult, they still like to come down and tell you like what you're doing and how you should be. But yeah, like I know like my mom listens to like every single podcast. And
hi, Mrs. Strohman, how are you doing?
She's probably hearing that. She probably said hi back. What's scary to me is that I don't like swear at all around my parents. But on the podcast or in my videos, I just like I go ham with it.
Well, if it's gonna be if you want to have a natural interaction with somebody, you have to be able to be yourself. So it's hard. You sit down and you're like, man, I'm like with my friend, I'm with my buddy, but like I'm also on camera and video, and I'm like, oh god, like
my mom's gonna be watching this later, so I'm basically like sitting in the room with my mom. But like the thing is that at a certain point I just have to accept that people who aren't going to agree with the way I talk, whether that's my parents or someone else, they're going to see it. And if they don't appreciate it, then that's their problem.
We got supportive parents for that.
Yeah, and we do. I'm not dogging on my mom.
No, I know you're not.
But like my parents are kind of conservative, and like they really don't appreciate swearing around the house. So I don't do it. But with my buds, like, dude, I will swear however I want. I will talk however I want.
Yeah, well, my parents are the same way. Like my mom obviously knows when I go to my friend's house, I'm gonna just start like, you know, whatever, be a person, I guess, like be an 18-year-old. But yeah, when I'm in the house, I'll talk sometimes, and especially right after I had been at a friend's place or something, come in and just be like, oh man, do you hear about this shit? And she'd be like, Miles, and I'd be like, oh, my bad, sorry about that. Like,
yeah, that's so funny.
No, I know that is like, I feel really bad every time, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm 18. Like, come on. Cut me some slack, okay? Like,
it's kind of the idea that you don't want to disappoint your parents in any way, but you also just have to be yourself at some point. Your parents can't tell you how you have to be for the rest of your life. You have to kind of take your own path at some point, whether that is just as something as kind of small as like the way you talk.
And they know I'm going to be in those environments too. I mean, I'm going to Chicago, so that's going to be every street corner is going to have things like that. So
Is that
Oh, here you go.
is that another reason why you kind of struggled with making music during COVID, because you were kind of stuck in the house with your parents? And
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that too, when you record anywhere in your house, you're like listening for people. Like, I'm listening for footsteps. I'm listening for somebody. I'm like, can anybody hear me? Like, I don't know. And so yeah, a lot of times I just wouldn't record my vocals because my parents were in the house. My parents are here,
Yeah.
and that's why I kind of look forward that, I mean, everybody looks forward to being on their own, but a part of me looks forward to being on my own just for that reason alone. Just because, I like having that alone time, because I can just do whatever the hell I want to do, and like no one's gonna worry or like say anything about it, like, because you always get worried about being judged. No matter how confident you are in your work, like it's a factor always, and so it's always interesting. But yeah, that my mom walking around the house, I was in the middle. I remember I was in the middle of recording vocals, and my mom like told me food was ready. But I don't know. But I was just like, oh, dude, like she can't help it. She's doing her own thing. But I'm like, oh, I feel so like it's embarrassing. You don't know. It's in a way it's embarrassing, and you just have to work on the confidence to be like, I'm recording my music. That's fine. Like I'm just doing that type of thing. But yeah, I'm still definitely not at that place, just because like, I'm working on confidence and that type of thing, and eventually I will put out music. You don't know how many oh my God, I always feel so bad because I post like new music coming, and then I wouldn't post anything.
You posted something like that like half a year ago. I was so hyped.
Everybody, I got one from Chris Kellogg too, like one of my oldest time buddies. We barely get to see each other just because like of everything, especially now, but we regularly only get to see each other very little. But he would always be like vocal when I'd post stuff, and he's like, dude, I'm so hyped. And I always just thought about that. I'm like, man, I wonder if he remembered that I just didn't post anything.
He does.
He probably does.
He despises you.
Yes.
No,
I know.
No, he doesn't.
No, but I always feel bad. So, and I have a reputation for doing that. Let's be honest. I did that when I switched schools. I did a lot of things I said I was going to do, and then I absolutely did none of it. And everybody got mad at me for it. But
that's just a trend.
It's just a trend with me, okay? I'm trying to break it. I've learned to break it. Like, definitely now I am I'm very cautious about what I say before I say it, because I've gotten a lot of shit for just, I'm gonna go to Guilford now because Auburn's too hard, academics are so hard. But then I really love the people that I had at Auburn. Some of the people at Auburn are like the most down-to-earth, funniest, great people I had ever met. I had a really solid friend group at Auburn for a long time. And they were really like, at first, when I first said it, they were like, oh, dude, don't go. Like, that sucks. That's sad. And it made me reconsider. They did what they were set out to do, which was making me change my mind. And so about halfway into making the decision to leave, I was like, I might want to stay. And they were like, really, you're going to stay? And I was like, I think so. I don't know yet, but I think so. And everybody always kept asking me, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I'm an honest person. So when people ask me what I'm going to do, I'll tell them what's on my mind at that moment like at that time. And so, yeah, I then did more school and was like, this still sucks.
Yeah, the gifted program is not an easy program to be in.
No offense, but all offense, don't go to the gifted program. I'm sorry. Like there are some great opportunities, don't get me wrong, but in my personal advice to any 8th grader watching the podcast, you don't have time. Yes, it will prepare you for college. Like I watched my brother, he went through all 4 years of it. It prepared him for college. He had a miserable time at the end. At first he really appreciated it, but then it was like it went downhill, like for pretty much everybody that goes to Auburn.
Yeah.
But like it prepares you for college. My brother, he went to college and he was like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. Like he's like, dude, like Auburn was harder, like for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But you have like no time for anything else because you come home with like 3 hours of homework a night.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like I was like 20 minutes out from Auburn. So by the time I got home, it was probably about 4 o'clock because we got like 3:45 and I get home at 4. I'd eat dinner. It'd be about 5 o'clock. I'd eat. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, it happens.
I ate and then like literally went and worked for 3-4 hours on homework and I was exhausted. And by 8 or 9, I'd have maybe an hour or two to myself. And that would be my night. And that was every night. Like that was a lot of nights where I had to do that, you know, because everybody has to buckle down every once in a while for school. But for Auburn, it was like every day. And so, yeah, that was my breaking point because I was like, I can't do extracurriculars. I barely see my friends, even though I really love hanging with my friends and being there with them. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, after I went back and forth a few times, that was the end of the line for me. But, oh, God, my friends were pissed when I changed my mind again.
Me and Mike actually talked about it on the podcast when he was on. Like, we talked about how you got so much shit for going to Guilford after like being back and forth all the time. And the thing is that like you know Nasser went to Guilford too, but he just didn't tell anyone.
Dude, that pissed me off so much. Because I got a lot of shit for leaving. Like an unnamed person put in a very not nice word in my yearbook when I left. He was one of my close friends, and so it hurt my feelings. And it hurt my feelings enough. I was like 9th grade. I was kind of young, so I was like, Mom, look at what he said. I didn't do it like that. I think my mom just like, can I see your yearbook? And I was like, sure. And then she was like, who wrote this? And I was like, would you believe it if it was this? Because it was one of my close friends and she knew who it was.
Yeah.
And she was like, wow, like, why would they say that? And I was like, they were mad I was leaving, like, you know. Yeah. But no, and then Nasser freaking
happy birthday again.
Happy birthday. I'm gonna shit on you in a moment. I get to the end of the year and Nasser is among the people who are like on me for leaving.
He gave
me plenty of shit. Like he wasn't outright mean with it, but he was definitely like on the bandwagon, always like, Miles, what's wrong with you? Like and so I remember it was my brother's graduation. Nasser, his brother is the same age as my brother, and they both went to Auburn, so we were at the same graduation. And Nasser comes up to me. I'm just chilling, doing my own thing. I was talking to my brother, and Nasser was like, hey, Miles. And I was like, hey, Nasser. And he's like, so I'm going to Guilford. And I was like, what? And he's like, I'm going to Guilford. And I was like, you fucking what? I was like, are you shitting? Like he was like, so that's pretty cool. And I was like, what?
Not after all the shit you gave me.
I was like, you've been like on my ass this entire time talking about this. And I was like, how dare you? I was happy because he was my friend, but I was also like, dude, you hid in my shadow and just let me take all the hits. I was his body shield. And and then he got off scot-free. I remember when Nasser came back to the grad party, we went to a grad party recently where all of our old Auburn friends were there. And I remember they even said like, it was almost as if that still hadn't been addressed until that day. Because I think like Gio, one of the people, was like, yeah, I remember when you left and everybody was so surprised and you didn't say anything to anybody. Like, you know, and so I'm like, man, Nasser, you still have to clear that up, don't you? You still have to like, you got to take the blame now. You can't hide forever. I already took my hits. You got to take yours. No.
You did your time, Miles.
I did my time. I do my time for plenty of things, that's for sure.
I just noticed you're actually repping the Guilford merch right now.
I am repping the Guilford shirt, or merch. That's pretty nice. Cool.
The thing is that the gifted program, like by the time you get to high school, it's kind of pointless. Like even if you do all 4 years and then work your ass off to get that gifted seal, there's not many colleges that actually acknowledge that sort of thing.
Let me clear this up too. Yeah. It's another honor. You know where else you can get honors? Playing any sport, anything you like, any other extracurricular, doing one thing in an extracurricular. Hell, just doing the extracurricular is just as much credit as the Auburn gifted seal. And
Yeah.
when you go to Auburn, you sacrifice all those extracurriculars and all the extra fun time that you should have when you're doing a regular high school experience. And not that the gifted program is terrible. There are some really wonderful teachers there. That
is one thing I'll say.
Yeah.
The teachers there are great.
The teachers are amazing. And in my class, for me personally, I had an awesome group of people. The people were amazing. And I don't have any regrets about that would be the thing that I have regrets about would be for leaving was just, I left all those people behind kind of. I tried my best to stay in touch and, then COVID happened, and now everybody's
now everyone's left behind.
Now
regardless.
everybody's behind, so I guess I get a pass on that. But no, that was yeah. Oh, my brain died. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, I was actually very fortunate to get out of the program when I did. Like after sophomore year, I don't think I would have survived junior or senior year there.
That's what my brother told me too. He's like, dude, if you're struggling now, you don't do the rest
stay.
of it. Don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And one thing is like, okay, so I went to anyone listening who doesn't really know me, I did go to Rock Valley College, just a community college here for my junior and senior year. And that gave me the opportunity to work towards both my high school diploma and my associate's degree.
This guy's already got his degree.
I'm already like 2 years ahead.
Working on it yet. And he's ahead of the game.
I have it and I'm never going to use it.
But, it's credit. It's credit.
It is credit. I mean, I'm not going to change my mind, but that opportunity is there should like 2 years pass and I'm like still in the dumps and I really need to get something going.
Yeah.
But I think the point that I was trying to get to, what was the point I was trying to get to? Oh yeah, so like by the time that I did go to Rock Valley, that is like higher education, that is college. It was so easy. I was like the top of the class at like everything. I was literally 1B short of highest honors, and that was because that was in my sociology class because I literally forgot to do a whole midterm test.
Dude, yeah, I understand. I understand that, dude. I love this. One of my teachers, Mr. Kirschman, he was my math teacher. I loved him so much. I still do. He's an awesome dude. He's the best teacher I've ever had, I have to say. Because I took him, the moment I got to Guilford my sophomore year, I was definitely like, kind of outcast at Guilford my first year there because I had no classes with some of my old friends. My old friends had like a weird clique going on at the time. They really did, where they were like, "Are you playing soccer?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "You should play soccer."
Because they're all like soccer.
They were
guys,
all
right?
soccer guys, and they were like, "Miles, we don't care if you like to play soccer. Just play soccer so you can hang out with us."
Come
and
on,
I was
join the cult, Miles.
I know. They were like, so. I was like, I don't like to play soccer, and they were like, "No, get out of here."
You play soccer. So did you play soccer?
I did not. And so
Congrats.
I know, right? I took my own path. I spent most of that year just focused on academics, and that was one of the most rewarding years for me because like it was when I really didn't have a lot of friends to lean back on. It was actually when I first started being really close friends with you and Mike because at that point I was kind of looking for new friends. So that I had spent a ton of time doing tennis. I focused on academics. At that point, I had terrible acne too. And that was something I was trying to work on. I was just like total self-wellness at that point. I was like, man, I'm going to get fit. I'm going to clear up my acne. I'm going to get straight A's. I'm going to do all that stuff. And I did. And it was really, really rewarding at the end of it because I was super confident going in my junior year.
Yeah.
And I kind of credit that to why I have my girlfriend today. I changed my outlook that year. I really spent a lot of time, focusing on myself because I had a ton of confidence issues leaving freshman year at Auburn.
I get that.
Because it was like, man, where do I go from here? Like, I kind of like all my friends at Auburn are like kind of mad at me. All my friends at Guilford are kind of like they don't know me as well anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going into a totally new environment that I don't know what it's going to be like. And so, it was super different. But I really, really enjoyed my switch from Guilford. And it sucks that I didn't get that. I think we are in the absolute I might say, maybe us or the year ahead of us had the worst timing for COVID.
Yeah.
I think because right when COVID hit for us, it was when we were doing all of our testing.
Yep.
It was when we were doing all the important testing where all the colleges are looking to see how are you doing. And then they basically took all of that stuff that everybody trains for and they said, well, we'll take it or we won't. We don't really know. We'll just kind of look at your GPA and see what you did. And it's like, well, I didn't really do anything because half the time I was at high school, I was in lockdown. And, because I had a lot of plans for my junior year and stuff. And I expected that to be a really hard year. And halfway through, it was just like, oh, nope, you're sitting at your house doing online school now. Yep. And I was like, well, this is terrible. But yeah, that was really, again, COVID was just such a change. I think I came out of it pretty well. Like, I don't think much changed for me personally. I think motivation, like, that tanked a bit, like any person really. But everybody had their own vices, I guess, when in it, and so a lot of us got through it and did our own thing. But God, it was exhausting. It absolutely exhausting. And I'm talking like COVID's behind us. It isn't, but
not quite. But it is like
better.
Getting there. Yeah, it's significantly better.
Like,
I will say
the fact that I'm vaccinated, so it's like I feel much better.
Can you hold that thought? I really need to pee. This G Fuel is getting into my system.
Absolutely.
It is, and it's ready to come out. So just a moment. I don't know if you want to say something. Otherwise, I just edit this out.
Yeah,
you can talk to the audience.
I guess I can talk. I don't care.
Again, I can just cut it.
It's all right. I'll have my own conversation over here.
All right,
we'll see. Yeah. Everybody, I'll take this time to say that Daniel, this guy works super, super hard on like everything. This dude makes content every day, and he's super dedicated to his work. I think it's really inspirational. I really, really think y'all should check out his channel. Y'all should check out everything that he does because it's what he's looking at for his future. So, if you want to help support a friend, a homie of mine, please do that because you just can't get the type of passion like this every day. And so even through COVID and everything, he's worked really hard. He's put a ton of time and money and effort. This dude goes to a job, comes home, works on this stuff. It's his daily routine. And it's really, really cool to see and watch. I really want to I really appreciate seeing where he goes. So yeah. Oh, wow. Hi, Daniel. Deep. Yeah. Sorry, I'm doing a little promo for my boy. Oh, wait, that's all. You were the boy. So yeah. You'll see if you want to keep that in the the script, whatever.
Hey, this isn't scripted.
We don't have scripts here, by the way. I have PewDiePie G Fuel, and that's all I brought. So yeah.
Was that a fast pee?
That was a pretty yeah.
I have a tiny bladder.
I know, dude. Dude, I used to when I was a kid. I don't know what it was. I'd be done 5 seconds. I was out of there.
Really?
And everybody'd be like, "You peed?" And I was like, "Yep." And they were like, "What?"
Low key, I was. This is gonna be a weird admission, but whatever. I don't care.
This is why I like to hear.
That was actually something that I used to be insecure about because, going up to the urinal and let's say that there's another guy, hopefully not in the urinal right next to me, but maybe a couple urinals down. They'll be going for who knows how long. Let's say 30 seconds. That's on the higher end, but still, the point is that they went way longer than me. I'd be up there for 4 seconds max, and then this dude would be just throwing down piss for. Yeah,
you'd be next to an old guy, and he'd just be standing there for 30 seconds, Like no matter what an old guy does, and they are always grunting. They could be doing absolutely nothing. I'm sorry. Like that's just, dude. Shout out to all the nervous peers out there. I'm with you. I understand. I can't do it. I can't do it. If somebody else is in the bathroom and I don't know, I have to have a certain level of space away from somebody. I can't do it. My girlfriend still gives me a shit about it because she came over to my house once and it's silent in my house. And, you know, I know she can hear me peeing. So I turned on the air so I could feel better about myself.
Dude, literally every time I'm in my bathroom, like I'm not so much a shy peer now, but I'm a very shy pooper. But like I used to, like, any time I would go into my bathroom, the fan would always be on. It didn't matter whether like I was just peeing, pooping, it could be anything. The fan was on so that like there was less of a chance of anyone else hearing me.
Yeah, no, but my girlfriend's the exact opposite because I guess girls, that's cultural, that's the thing. We go to the bathroom together, and so like God, it was like she made me feel like, because she's like, yeah, when my friends go to the bathroom, like if I'm not like in the bathroom with them, I'm like sitting outside their door, and I'm like, do not sit outside of my door. Don't do that, please. You don't need to hear. I don't need emotional support while I go to the bathroom. This is my private time.
So yeah, I remember me and Mike used to do that all the time to you as a joke. Just like sit outside the door and make noises to you.
Yeah, I thought those noises were at me, but I didn't really process it until you came out and you're like, Miles, we can hear you peeing, and I was like,
good stream, Miles.
I immediately became self-conscious. It was like tough, but I was just like, damn, am I gonna be able to like do this? It sometimes pops into my mind now when I go to the bathroom when you guys are here. I'm like, I might turn on the fan.
Yeah, the thing is that there isn't really a fan in the basement one.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've never done it here. I've always thought about it, but I was just like, maybe I'll like make other noises. Anything to distract the.
I'm not peeing.
I'm not. Please just go away. Like it's just it's this. It's one of the weirdest things because like even if I have to go to the bathroom like so bad, if there is somebody else right next to me, it's probably not gonna happen. Like my mind just takes over and I'm like, nope, gotta go, not gonna happen.
Yeah, something I was gonna say about like say earlier about how like other people seem to pee like way longer than me. Like that is what got into my head. I started thinking like, is there something wrong with me? Do I have a disorder of some sort with my bladder? Like it just goes to such an extreme.
Yeah,
dude. No, I totally get like that whole like shy peer thing because like especially in the one in the basement here, that's a rough one because it's like right next to everything.
You can. It's thin walls. You you start thinking about shit.
Yep.
You're like, oh God.
Well, Miles, we're helping you boost your confidence every time you pee here.
This is the type of content you get here, right? Not the Daniel Strohman podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I expected us to talk about.
I did not expect us to talk about that.
Pissing
either.
and shitting.
I haven't.
That's what we're doing.
We haven't lit any incense. Did you want any? I low-key wanted to light this candle. I actually just got this. This is the one I got in my vlog. I don't know if you watched that.
Oh, shoot. I haven't seen the vlog yet.
Dude, it was like my first vlog ever. It's like, I'm like kind of awkward when I'm talking. And like, one thing that I noticed is that I hold the camera really low. Like I thought I was holding it high when I was doing the vlog, but there were many times where I'm just like this. So that's like a habit I need to get into. But all things considered, I'm very happy with how like that first vlog turned out because, you know, like my YouTube channel, I usually do like gaming videos and that's fine. And I mostly do those because like, well, first of all, I do enjoy like that kind of content. I do enjoy like playing games. I do enjoy like that sort of commentary.
Oh, that's really popular. Like, you know, if there's any advice I could give would be like, because I think you have a crap ton of content just there on your channel that's like because every video you put out for the most part it's like an hour long. Yeah. And I'm like, man, compile that, like edit that and make a good like, you know, 10, 15-minute edited video. Like that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, I want to get into like making other stuff like montages or stuff like that. The thing is that I was gonna say like the regular gaming videos that I usually make, it's just like that is something that I can pump out every day. That makes it doesn't make it easier. And I am getting a lot better about like cutting down the time.
Yeah.
I remember earlier, like, almost every video would be like an hour long, especially with like the Doom Eternal series that I did. Each episode would be an hour long with like no cuts ever. But I am getting better about like, if like I have 40 minutes of recording, I'll go through the whole thing, make cuts, and by the end it'll be like 25 minutes, which isn't bad for a gaming video that you were recording for like 40 minutes straight.
Yeah.
So like I am getting better about it. So yeah, I'm just like, I started out with that sort of thing, and I do want to grow into like, making that better, but also like making other types of content. I remember back in the day, and like, when did you come to Washington? That was like...
That was 5th grade.
That was 5th grade. Okay.
Yeah. I came real late, right at the end.
Okay. Well, both like elementary and middle school, I was kind of known as the kid who made videos. Like anytime that there was a video project, you knew that mine was going to be the best.
That happened in Marshall still. Like
you were in publications, right? Was that what you were going to bring up?
Yes.
Yeah, like every time there was a video project, which we actually did a few of there, I just knew how to make videos.
Yeah, when I first saw you, I was like, that's the kid that knows how to use the green screen. I was like, oh my gosh, he makes such cool videos as a little kid. I was like, man, I wish I could be that good.
But something that like I've kind of recognized now is that I'm really good at writing. If I, like most of the content that I make now is kind of spontaneous, whether it is like the gaming videos, I just kind of go into the game and make whatever commentary, or on this podcast even, it is kind of like just on the spot. It's just like a regular conversation. But something that I'm good at is like sitting down and taking the time to write something complex that weaves into like that like has, different motifs or themes that weave in and out of it, or things that come back up, or, I just think that I'm a competent writer, and if I could implement that into my videos, that would be really good. The thing is that like I think what I'm worried about is like a lack of growth, if that's the sort of thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It'll take a while for things to like move, I think. And so I think it's just a matter of like, be consistent, know that your passion is your passion, and like eventually, hopefully things go your way. Like that's all you can really hope for. And so, I'm excited to see where it goes. I think it'll be cool. Yeah, no, I am. Like I tune into as like much as I can. I'll click and like on every video.
I do appreciate that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a friend, so that that helps.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Yeah, no, but it's always, I know like sometimes there are like some of the podcasts that I'd be like actually interested in like hearing and stuff like that. Like I told you, like in the last podcast with Belen that you did, I hadn't even heard from Belen for so long. And I was kind of curious. So I was just like, you know what? I was really tired one night, so I turned on the podcast and I just like closed my eyes, put in the headphones, just listened to the podcast for a long time.
So many people tell me that like that's what they end up doing, is that they'll put on the podcast before they go to bed, and then a lot of times they'll just end up staying up because they get invested in it.
Yeah,
and that's just like stuff like that is so like touching to me.
No, it's really it's fun to do. I do it generally. I'll listen to your podcast when I know I got a lot of time. So generally, it's like, am I going on a long car ride? Am I going to bed? Those are usually when I watch your podcast.
Yeah.
We got 6 out right now, so so many.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, even like Mikal, who's in, I'm not gonna say where she is, but she moved away. Like I had no idea that she listened to the podcast.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's interesting.
With like on the first video, she commented that. The first one with Isaac, she commented that, she was just going to like put it on for like just like a random thing to listen to before she went to bed. But then she got so invested in the conversation that she ended up staying up.
Yeah.
And like comments like that are just like that's just stuff like that is just so cool to hear.
Yeah, no, that's I think that'll always be interesting, because it's like I think it's always really cool to see who you bring onto your podcast, especially just within the immediate circle of people that I know, because or like used to know, because when it's been so long since I've heard from somebody, like, you know, I just get to see, man, if I haven't seen somebody in 3 or 4 years, which is now pretty easy to have happen, I can just see their personality right here. And so it's really interesting, like watching and knowing, like, man, I used to know that person. What do they look like now? Like, how are they now? You know what I mean? Like, so it's really cool just to see like who you bring on and like talking to people. And so, you know, I think the only person that like I saw go on that I barely knew and never talked to was like Darian.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's interesting. I didn't really, like, I watched a little bit of Darian's, but I really mainly listened to Mike's and Nasser's and Belen's probably for like at least a half an hour to 40 minutes for most of them. And so, yeah, that was I'm excited to see who else you bring on there, because like Mike and Nasser, I know those guys real well. So it's like, but I'm real interested to see who you bring in that I've like haven't talked to in forever, because you and I think of a lot of the people in our like circles. We know a lot of people outside of the schools that we're in, you know, like we've been to Auburn and we went to Guilford. I went in elementary school. I went to RLA. So I know all those people from RLA, and I know a few people who've gone to Boylan. So it's like, you know, all those people that have gone all those different places. And I think you still have a lot of connections in those places too. Like, I know those people kind of, but it's been so long. So it's just like, man, how have you turned out? Like, you know, so it's interesting to watch.
That is probably one of my favorite things about the podcast is just reconnecting with people who I haven't really seen or talked to very often. Or even like just, someone like with Mike, it was really nice to just sit down with him for an hour and just talk, because that's not something we normally do, even though he comes to my house literally all the time. It's, you know, it's just like, you know, small banter. We'll talk shit, whatever. It's not like anything serious, but it was nice to just like sit him down and like actually have a conversation for an hour.
Well, I'm the talker.
You are. I literally changed the settings on the cameras so that we could like
high quality.
No, actually, all right. The camera quality is gonna be lower, but we can record for longer.
That's right, because you know I can talk that.
I know that. Like that's kind of why I wanted to like have you on specifically right now, because like I really needed a guest, but like I just, especially now, it was kind of feeling like, how do I want to put this?
Were you like looking for somebody that you were just like comfortable with talking to today?
Yeah, just right now. Like this week, I was just kind of feeling like a drag. I didn't want to, like, I wanted someone who would be really easy to communicate with, and like, that's you. You're really good at talking. I figured. Like, I'm talking way more than I expected to on this podcast, but I figured like, even if I didn't want to talk as much as I am now, like it would be really easy for me to just sit back and let you banter on.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I know, like for myself, I talk a lot. Like, you know that I talk a lot, and I just have a lot of stuff to say. I got stories. I got things, especially like I was always like this, like with COVID, even still, like I just always had stories. I can literally talk about like pointless things sometimes. Like it's my bad, because a lot of times like my grandpa, like he's a very like straightforward, get to the point type of guy. So you know, many times how much, like when I was a kid, especially because as a kid, you talk about like pointless stuff all the time. And so as a kid, I used to just ramble on and on and on, and my grandpa would be like, dude, be quiet, like stop, like don't do that. Like, and
obviously you didn't listen.
Absolutely not. Of course I kept going. Like that was I don't know. I like to talk. It's my thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm a social person, and so it makes things easy.
That was something that kind of surprised me about like getting into this podcast, because I mean, I'm not really much of a talker. Like I can make conversation if I really put my mind into it and if I'm really invested in it. But like if my mind's not in it, then it's just not really gonna happen. Like I'm surprised that I can like keep these conversations going like I am. And there are admittedly times where there are like long awkward pauses. One that comes to mind is with Ayush. I was rambling on about Neon Genesis Evangelion, and then at a certain point I was like, I don't really have a point to this. I don't care to make a point about this. So for a minute I just sat thinking like, should I keep going? Should I ask Ayush about something? And then I was just like, what are you doing for college? But yeah, I'm just surprised by myself that I can actually like hold these conversations for as long as I can.
Well, I think you give yourself less credit than like what's due. I think you can make a lot of good conversation. I think it just depends on who you're gonna talk to as well. Like, you know, as with me, I talk so much about such random crap all the time. I have so many stories that are just like me messing up something stupid. I was gonna actually, that's why I saved the story for
today. You have an interesting story.
So I went to work today or yesterday, and Tom gives me random things to do. Shout out to Tom. He might be watching the podcast at a certain point. He told me to show him it, so yeah, you know.
But did you tell him that you were gonna be on the podcast?
Yeah. I was like, I gotta get home like immediately today. He's like, oh, why? And I'm like, because I'm going straight to Daniel's to record a podcast. And he was like, oh, okay. Like he was like, can you like show me it? And I was like, yeah, just I'll show it to you. That's wholesome. Yeah, I know. He's really interested in that type of thing too. So, but anyways, I was at work and I get there, he's got fire extinguishers lined up on the side of his, because some company, Tom has a lot of things in his office. That is the extent that I will go to, is he has a lot of things in his office. And so the fire extinguisher, he needed to get them all tagged, and there were 7 of them. Okay. And I don't know really why he needs them tagged. I guess he's got some old ones that like might be able to sell for money. I don't know. Okay. But in order to do that, I had to drive halfway across town to a fire extinguisher place, and that was just a nightmare in itself because I don't drive very many places. My car has like there goes my keys. Yep. They're gonna stay there right now. I don't go very many places in town just because, like, my car, it sucks. I have terrible visibility. My car windows are tinted, and so at night, I can't see out the side of anything. Like, it's like I have one narrow view, so I hate driving at night. I usually always try to make other people drive at night. I kind of feel bad because, like, you know, be at your house and you want to go to Meyer, and I, like, never drive because
you drive a lot more than
you think. And it feels bad because my car is also a hybrid. So I take up way less gas than everybody else in the group. So part of me is like, I should be the group driver because like that would be like, I would conserve the most gas and like wouldn't cost much for me to do it. Whereas like Mike's car eats up like $50 of gas and like
that's something he complains about all the time.
I know
the gas mileage on his car.
Yeah, every time I got in his car, it'd be on empty. I'm like, he's like, we gotta stop at the gas station, guys. I'm like, oh my god, dude! Like, I don't know how you keep that thing up. But anyways, work story. I get to the fire extinguisher place, and I get the lady super nice. She's like, oh yeah, we'll tag him. Just go ahead and get him out of your car. And so I start grabbing the fire extinguishers out of my car, and I go and grab one, and I hear, and I'm like, what? And it's in the backseat of my car, and it went off in the backseat. And my car was covered in like this yellow powder, which it was terrible. It was like dry chem, which I'm kind of fortunate because if it was wet chem, like that could have been a real hassle to get on my car. Yeah. So it was just like this yellow powder everywhere in my car, and the lady was like, "Did that just go off?" And I was like, yeah. She was like, and so essentially that was the so I had like this nightmare experience because all of a sudden the lady's like, all right, well, I got everything I don't know how you're gonna get out of here. There's a car wash nearby you can go to on East State. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll go there. And
But it was on the inside of your car, right?
it
Or
was
it
on the inside of my car. Yeah, it was all in the back seat. So there's just this yellow powder that sprayed on the walls of my car and on the side. It was terrible.
So would a car wash really take care of that?
So they had an interior people. They would go in and like. So I get there, I drive over to the place, and immediately as I get there, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be here because there's this, it's one lane. You go down and like as soon as you drive in it, like you're not going the other way. Like they're forcing you to go through. Like it's obviously it's almost like a stick up because I got there. These people dressed in overly like professional uniforms with tablets come up to me.
What?
Yeah.
And they're just going to wash your car.
Yeah. I'm at a car wash and they come up with me with tablets and they say, do you have a membership? And I go, what?
Membership for a car wash?
Yeah, I was like, I do not have a membership. Do I need a membership?
But it's an interior car wash.
Exactly.
So it's fancy.
Yeah, I have to trust them. And literally, I get there and she's like, okay, that's fine. Well then, here, I'm gonna, here's your options. I was like, yeah, I had a fire extinguisher go off in the back of my car. Like,
where's that option?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you guys take care of that one. And so, yeah, and they're like, oh yeah, well, we can take care of that. We can have some guys vacuum that out and everything. I was like, okay. She flips on the tablet and it's like $25.
Oh, that's not bad.
Well, for a car wash though, like let me tell you, I got my boss's car wash. It was the exterior for like $6. Okay. Yeah. So let's take $6 plus vacuuming out my car. I can shop vac my car easy, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's probably me being that about money and stuff, but literally it was like $30 for this car wash, and I'm like, and literally
that's getting up there, yeah.
Yeah, it was $30 total, and like I get there, and they're like, yeah, we'll do the interior for you. They just had two guys. They came through, probably took them about a minute, and they just like real quick.
Oh, that's probably the upsetting part, right?
Yeah, they just real quick vacuumed up like the powder off of it, and it was like really like poorly done too. Because it was pretty bad
for a $30. I'm like, that's terrible.
Yeah, and then they ran me through this like really again overdone machine where my car, like generally you go through a car wash and you just like slowly drive through and they'll do it for you, but this one had like a rack you put your car on and then you put it in neutral and then and then it moves for you, like so you're just in neutral. Yeah, it was weird. I thought my car was gonna like get caught on something too. I was like, this is weird. I don't feel like my car would fit in this thing because like I tried to drive into the rack and I missed, and so the dude was like, back up. I'm like, did I just break your machine? I don't know. But yeah, and so essentially, sorry, I'm just getting off real long, but the only other significant thing that happened is I went through the car wash, everything was fine, and then I was going to merge onto like a busy street. And I went to go look for my rearview mirror, and it had snapped shut in the car wash. So I had to get home with no rearview mirror. Really? So I was like, oh God.
But it wasn't like broken. It was just like closed.
No, it just snapped shut because the pressure from the machine in my car is just that way.
Yeah, it has like the folding.
Yeah, it has that folding thing, and so I didn't realize that it folded shut in the thing. So it was just the most stressful car ride because I still had powder in the back of my seat. It wasn't all the way out, so I had my cars down. It was raining at the time too. I had my windows down and it was raining and I don't have a rear view mirror and I'm like trying not to hit anybody on my way home, and it's like a 20-minute car ride, and Siri's taking me like through the weirdest neighborhood routes I could ever imagine. So yeah,
that's stressful.
It was a fun time.
I'm sure.
A fun time. Yeah,
Miles. All right, real quick, I gotta go to the bathroom again. Dude, this G Fuel is wrecking me. I finished my whole thing.
Yeah, you have
I've drank half my water.
I've had like half of this, and that's about it.
So I will be back in a moment. I'm so sorry.
You have a tiny man bladder, Daniel. I know. So sorry.
Bladder problems. That's important.
Yeah, I don't know if I can continue to talk. Of course I can continue to talk. Yeah, you'll choose. You pick and choose. I might just sip some G Fuel in the camera.
Miles Hutto.
How's it going?
I'm back.
Just Snapchatted the girl.
Oh. Congrats.
So,
Very nice.
you can cut that one out.
Yeah, I can.
you
know,
gotta know.
I may have had to go to the bathroom twice in the middle of this one podcast, but I will have you know, my piss is crystal clear.
It's crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
That means you're hydrated, boy.
It does. Like, I could have pissed in the toilet, right? And you could have gone in later and you wouldn't have known.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I do not drink enough water, dude. My girlfriend, she is on my ass about it because somehow she can drink like 1.5 gallons of water every day. She's gonna be mad that I don't know how much water.
How much
she
are you
drinks.
supposed to drink?
It's a gallon.
A gallon. Okay.
And that's probably what I think so, right? Eight
cups. That's like
8-ounce cups. That's the standard, and I think that's a gallon.
Yeah, that's about a gallon.
Could be wrong.
Yeah.
Could ask Siri if I wanted to.
Yeah.
My newfound iPhone.
Oh,
I've had a Motorola G5 for the past. I kept that phone alive for 5 years, and I finally got a new phone, and that thing was like dying. Like, I'd click the search bar, and it'd take like 5 seconds for it to like pull up that I register.
And I remember it was so funny anytime you did like a Snapchat video or just like any regular video.
Yeah, dude, I have so many dumb videos because my my audio quality was just horrendous. And like everything about it, like all my videos were just chaotic. Like, they were just terrible. Like, it's something you'd see on like a 5-year-old's gaming channel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was that type of quality. Like, it was so bad.
Well,
but yeah,
how are you liking the iPhone? How does it feel to be on the right side of
dude? Honestly, everybody who has an iPhone, which is like everybody I know, I don't prefer how it is used. As I like the way that my Motorola functioned. I hate the silent mode thing. I wish I could just like click my phone when the volume gets down to the bottom. What my Motorola did was I did down the bottom, it would be on vibrate only and then silent. And all you have to do is just click the volume bars.
Yep.
On this, I got to put it on silent mode, which is some weird switch on the side. And then it silences something, but it silences some things and then it doesn't silence other things.
That's
and I'm
true.
like, well, I don't know. It was just like, dude, I don't want to have all these extra functions. I'm an old timer for like where people are at with iPhones and shit.
And
like,
another thing about like, okay, so what's the platform for Android? That's what it's called.
That's
that's like
Android. The Android is what like Samsung goes off of Google phones.
Yes, there's like iPhone. There's like iPhone, there's iOS, and then there's Android, which is just like every other phone. And that's one thing about Android too, is that it's also like super customizable. You can basically do whatever you want with it. iPhone, like they have their style, they have like they have everything set up for you, and you kind of just have to work with what they give you.
I view it, and people can disagree, but I personally equate iOS with the Xbox and Android with the PS4.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like it's that. Because I think Android is more widely used. I think like Android is way more like they have longer they are way more durable. I think they're like much stronger phones you get from like Android stuff, but like iOS is nice because I think iOS has better performance, like and they have longer battery life long term. I'm talking like, your battery's not going to die for like 3 or 4 years, whereas like on an Android, your battery's going to die in like 2, but like that type of difference. But I liked it, and I just like the way, because I've been so used to it, and my parents were the type of people you'd put them on anything electronic and they would just like freak out. Like they wouldn't know what to do. I remember when I got my like Xbox 360 and they were setting it up, and they're super like conservative with their like all their personal information, but like some people have no problem putting anything they want out on the internet. My parents are like, hell no, we are not. Like, not a single credit card number is going out on the internet. Like, they're not that, but like, it was that type of deal. And when like back when I was a younger kid, it was like that. So I remember they were like, why does the Xbox need my credit card number? Why do they need all these numbers? This is personal information. And they would just like be yelling up upstairs for like, and it took them like 2 hours to set up the Xbox, And I'm like, And now I go and set it up now, and I'm like, dude, this could have taken me like 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
this would have taken so little time. And they were like, good luck trying to set up your new one. And I'm like, this is not hard.
Yeah, parents are never gonna understand technology better than their kids.
Exactly.
Dude, I'm sure like when we're adults and we're trying to figure out new technology,
True.
our kids are gonna have it down pat. They're gonna know those things better than us. Even though we did grow up with technology, it's gonna be completely different, I'm sure.
And funny because we're probably gonna be the ones making it, but we're not gonna be the ones able to understand it. Like, that's
Well, the
the
thing
crazy
is,
thing.
well, maybe. What field are you going into again?
So I'm taking, it's like a computer science subset.
Okay. So you would kind of be the person making it.
Oh, I would be. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm going into. That's why I think, because then technology, I think, is the future. Like, that's why I'm doing
absolutely.
That's why I'm like, man, what's the most secure job I can get? Probably something with tech.
Oh, yeah, dude. The amount, I was talking to Ayush about this, the amount of jobs, just the sheer amount of opportunity there is in just like the tech field. If you know how to code, you have a future ahead of you.
Yeah, pretty much. And so that's why that's why I chose that. And so right now I'm having a major in user experience is what it's called. And it's a weird subset, and it trains you to be a product designer or product manager is what it's called. Yeah, it's pretty nice. When I get out of college, I'll probably be making good money if it ends up being the road that I take. So because like when I go up there, like up to DePaul, I have my major and my minor. And my major would be UX, and then I'm also going to minor in game design. And that's actually what got me interested in DePaul. It wasn't the UX major. It was they were like number 1 or number 2 in game design. And I was like, oh, that's sick.
That's
because
what you're
I'm
interested in?
Dude, I love playing video games. I love doing all that stuff. And I was like, man, I'd love to be the guy behind that. I'd love to be the guy doing that. One of my dream jobs would be, if I could combine my hobbies and my greatest passions, it would be being the person behind the music in some really badass video games. That's what I'd be. Like the guy behind making all the music in Skyrim, I want to be that guy. Like that's the type of deal. That would be a really awesome job. You know, if you make a good amount of money doing that, I would love that type of field.
Yeah.
And so there were a lot of like liberal arts colleges that offered that, but the problem with those degrees in those fields is that if you don't make it big, you don't make it very far at all in those fields. And so that's why I took game design as a minor there, because their kids reported they make between 30 and 50,000, which for one person, that's a fine amount. But DePaul base price costs $60,000 a year.
Jeez.
And now I don't pay that because I got scholarships and stuff. But for me, even for what I pay, making $30,000 a year, that's not enough.
Yeah,
that is not enough.
The rest of your life, you'll be paying off that student
and
debt.
I probably will never pay it off because the interest will be more than I can make in a year.
That's so absurd.
Yeah, I hear that. I got buddies going to Wisconsin, like pretty similar financial situation as me, who I don't know how they're gonna pay off the debt.
Yeah.
Like, and props to them. They're going to have an amazing time, but good luck with the debt. Like that's really where that's what scares me. I'm like, I don't want to have debt going out of college. And I'm very fortunate because I got my parents helped me with that type of thing. So my bad.
You're good.
Like I'll probably be fortunate enough to get out of college without debt, which is, I'm very fortunate for that. But, a lot of people don't have that type of support, and that so when people who don't have that type of support come up and tell me I'm going to go to University of Wisconsin for $60,000 a year, I'm like, no, don't do that. You're digging yourself a big hole, buddy. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And the thing about college debt or student debt in general is that it's the only kind of debt that doesn't get dissolved if you go bankrupt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no matter what, it doesn't matter how little money you have in the end, you have to pay off that student debt. It stays with you until you die.
It's crazy. And, you know, taking on, a lot of people have to take on debt to get through college, and that's fine. Don't get me wrong. If you have to take on debt to pursue your passions, to become financially stable, the difference is you have to have a plan and you have to be willing to stick to it. And why I don't like, you know, I had a certain cap on the money that we could afford every year for college. So I stuck to colleges that I could reasonably pay for. Because, you know, if I'm going to go to a college, because what I wanted was the ability to move around and not feel like I'm jeopardizing my future. Because I can't afford to pay more than the 4 years that I've got at the job, you know. I before, you know, I end up taking on that debt. So, you know, I going to DePaul, I hit my cap, but like able to get through without debt, which would be like, you know, we all through all 4 years, and then anything else after that, like I'm paying out of pocket, or hopefully if I land a job, if I wanted to get to a master's or whatever, then they would pay for that. My job would pay for that or something like that. Or I would just personally make enough money and save up so I could go get my master's. But that going through all that and paying for all that is nuts, like absolutely insane. And some of these, and what I was going to say was the giving yourself options in college, I think is like, it was what was important to me, because like I was talking about with Auburn and Guilford and other things, like I am a very fluttery person when it comes to making decisions, because I want to do what's best for myself. And a lot of times my mind changes and I'll go from one point to the other, and I don't know what I'm most comfortable with yet.
And the thing is that we are like young. We're still like, even though we are like adults by legally, we're still like, we're still just wee little children. We don't have enough experience really to understand exactly what we want for our future, for our career. So it's kind of absurd that, you know, in America, like we have so much student debt, because like even if you do think, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, I want to commit to this. If you do commit to that and it ends up not being what you want, then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for me, like I'm a creature of experience. Okay, I'm going for every experience I can possibly get. That's the point of life for me, man. You let me live forever, I'll take it, because I know I've got so many freaking things to do that I'll probably never get to, but like I'm just trying to give myself the most opportunity to do that. That's why I chase, you know, the careers that I chase, because I want to make sure that when I go to college, I'm going to college so that I can set myself up and have a legitimate plan to, you know, make a solid amount of money. And because I want to do what you're doing right now. Don't get me wrong. And I probably will. I will at some point do what you're doing, just not as, I mean, I guess dedicated before, because I'm a plan B type of person. I need to have a plan B in case my dreams fall short. And I just, because I don't want, because I want to be able to like provide for myself at a certain point. Like, man, I always want to be able to create music. But if that's like all I'm doing, I don't know if I'll have all that opportunity throughout my whole life if I, you know, it doesn't work out for me. And like, it just depends what type of route you want to take. But yeah, my grand goal is to do nothing at all with user experience. You know what I mean? My grand goal is to not use my degree at all. I would way rather get famous, I guess, and like do music and have that be my outlet and my job and my career and my passion and everything I want all into one thing. And, you know, and then I would be a happy dude, you know, that's where I would like draw the line with my success. And yeah, that's
in a lot of ways, you and me are kind of like, we kind of met at the same fork in the road. and you took one path and I took the opposite. We have like these, they're not the exact same passions, but they're very similar.
Same goals, different routes. We're hoping to reconvene at the same location. Yeah.
You decided to go the college route so that you could have that financial stability and like know that you do have like a stable future. And I went, fuck it.
Well, you did the college route already. I mean, to a certain.
It's an associate's degree. It's not really anything.
No, well, you have, but that's that you have the advantage of saying already, I have a degree. Like you have a degree, you have an associate's degree, and that's all you have to say to a lot of people. And they're like, okay, qualified. Let's talk about you. Like, you know what I mean? Because that's really what ends up happening is you get a degree so you can say I meet these requirements, and then it's just all about you.
All right.
For the most part, I think, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, what do I know about the
that is a fair
job
point.
Career world? Like, I don't know.
That's a fair point, but I think what I was trying to get at is that, you know, you did say that you're kind of a plan B guy, and my stance is there is no plan B.
Oh, you're bold. You go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there is literally no plan B here. My attitude is I either make it in like what I'm doing right now, or there is no point to my life at all.
Well, I mean, I understand.
Yeah, but the thing is that I am very lucky to have like find that I did find what I was passionate about very early on. Yeah. Like I've known since I was very little that I love making videos. I love making this kind of content. So I was very lucky in that sense that I did kind of have an idea that of what I want to go into. A lot of people, like I just said, a lot of people have no idea like what they want to do at this point in time. They still don't have that kind of experience, but like I was lucky to know what I wanted to do.
Yeah, because I know a lot of my friends. I think it's crazy because you and I are really passionate people. We've kind of discovered our passions. We kind of know what we want to do down the line, and I just think it's crazy. Like, I know there's so many people. I just don't know why it doesn't really process. I'm always surprised when I talk to my friends. I'm like, what are you passionate about? And they're like, I don't know. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't know? How do you not know? Oh my God. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't. And like, you know, a lot of people really take a traditional route and they listen to what other people tell them. Honestly, like I a couple of buddies I know, and we'll leave things unnamed, but like I know, a lot of people they're going to college to go to college and they don't really have a like point to it, I guess. Yeah. They're doing like what they want to, they're doing what people are telling them to do for sure. They're good at math, so they're doing engineering. They're good at, you know, doing all these things, so they're doing that. But like, you know, and I'm like, but is that really what you like to do? I don't know if that's where you would be happy. And I'm like, really, some people just chase the bag. They just chase money wherever it goes. I definitely am doing that to an extent. I mean, I'm taking user experience, knowing that it'll probably be hard, and like, it probably won't be perfect, but like, I'm also harboring my passions. So I do have a minor in game design. I'm taking animation. It sounds like it's going to be hard. It'll be a ton of projects, don't get me wrong, but I think I'll enjoy every second of doing that type of thing. And that's what I'm trying to get myself into. And so like those types of, I'm not an artist in any sense of the word. So it'll be a whole new experience for me. But I think it'll be really fun. And those, I just like, I'm still working on my degree, but I'm harboring my passions. And I definitely like, I think it'll be really hard because I'll be in the city. There'll be so much to do. It'll be hard for me to feel like, man, am I getting out enough? But I think a lot of me will want to stay home and work on my music, work on my hobbies, really drive into my passions. And yeah, I was hoping to do that this summer. I should do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm talking like the summer's behind me. I'm only a month in and I got 2 solid good months to work on what I want to work on. And so I'd really like to, you know, after we're done with the podcast, we'll go work on some music or do whatever. Yeah. I think that'll be good. And I want to just kind of, my goal was, I always told myself, man, I'll get a good song out by the end of the summer. So that's what I'm going to try to do.
Just one good song?
Just one good song.
That's a fair goal.
I'm tired of teasing it. I'm literally, once I'm done, I post it and I'm going to say, hey, it's posted. Because I'm not again, going to be like, new song coming out and not have it done. Yeah. And then like, you know what I mean? So,
I get that.
Yeah, because I've done that many, many times. My life.
Well, this thing about, we were talking about like how people don't really know what their passions are, and I'm kind of with you on like on this idea of like, oh, you haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
You've had so much time, but like that is definitely a very biased point of view because we
just kind of do our thing differently.
We did just kind of stumble upon something that we enjoyed. And the thing is that especially nowadays with technology, there are so many different fields to go into. You could be interested in science or history or like making computers, or there's a billion options out there, and you never really know until you experience it.
Yeah.
And the thing is like not like there's like people don't have the same passions. Like even though I love making videos and doing podcasts, like not everyone around me is not going to be super into that. They have to find their own passion, and a lot of times college does lead to that.
Yeah.
But like it's really just a matter of you have to really go out and try different things to find your passion.
Yeah, and that's why I'd say like college is the place you're going to find your passion.
Yeah.
I would really think for a lot of people, that's where you're going to be able, because that's the first time you just go out and be yourself. You go out and do what you want to do. And I think that really hits a lot of people. It'll hit me. I think I'm prepared for it to hit me when I go out to college. God, it's going to be such a weird experience because, I mean, well, I've been in Rockford at home for a long time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I spent the last part of it like again, I always go back to this and I always reference it, but like a year and a half in my basement. Like I've been out of the real world for a long time, and of course like I ain't getting back into it, but holy, like from going to that to going straight into one of the most urban places in America, like, in a big college with a bunch of people. I'll walk out on the street and there'll be a ton of people, ton of things that can just happen. Like, it'll be overwhelming for sure. But I remember when I went and visited, I felt really, really, I don't know why, because I just been to I've been to Chicago, So when I was there, I'm like, this is the urban environment I'd be comfortable with. Yeah. I felt that I just felt comfortable, and I felt like, man, I could live here every day. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And that might, and I really hope it doesn't. I don't think it will. I might change for me, but like, I think I'll really like urban settings. I think there is a level of just advantage you get from being able to handle urban environments. Yeah. Because being able to, like, people get jobs just knowing how to get around Chicago. Like literally, you can get a job literally just being like a guy that can walk people around, because everybody gets so lost in a big city like that. Absolutely. So it'll be fun. Y'all learn to ride the trains, learn to do all that type of thing. And so I'll be taking my friends out. They'll be overwhelmed. They'll be like, come with me. We're getting on the metro. Like whatever. Like it'll be fun. Yeah, dude. I don't think I could ever do such an urban setting like that. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I like visiting Chicago, don't get me wrong, but living there, it just seems like such a hassle. There are some, and I will say, and I don't know how much it'll affect me. It is hard going into a really big urban, but I think it's good. Well, let me get to my point. You see a lot of homeless people. You see a lot of really sad shit up in big urban settings, and that can be a bigger weight than a lot of people realize. Like, I remember a couple of times I went up to Chicago and I walked in like every corner on the street. There was someone begging, and you feel terrible. Like, a lot of people can walk by and like having a problem. Like, how do you not? Like, I always feel terrible because I'm like, dude, I wish, because like I know I'm in a better place than you. Why can't I help you out? Because I can't help every single person on every single corner. Yeah. And it's hard, and there's such a, like, I don't like to be cynical much, but especially after everything, like, people don't trust people as much anymore, for sure. There's a mutual, like, I would say if you ask most people, do you trust or mistrust a stranger? I think a lot of people would say no. Like, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't trust a stranger with my life. No, I wouldn't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Or just with regular stuff. You can, and I think, and that I think a lot comes now from me being so cooped up in my own solitary environment, and just watching the news and just seeing all this crap all the time. And I'm like, well, I really want to put myself out in that environment and really experience that environment for myself. And it might be overwhelming. It might be a lot and hard to take in sometimes, but being able to adapt to that and learn from that, that's what I hope I can do. And then I think that'll make me just a, stronger person moving forward. So that's really the big thing. Like, you can make so many connections in a city.
Yeah.
You can make so many, you just have so much to do, and I don't doubt that, I wouldn't be able to find a job in Chicago. There's so much there. And when you come out with a degree, that's big news. And so a lot of people look at that, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how everything goes. I don't think there's anything that I would take back at this point with how I chosen my college. I'm excited. It'll be interesting. I'm not a religious person, but I'm going to a religious institution, which is
DePaul
awesome.
religious?
Yeah, they're Jesuit.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. It's another form of Christianity.
Oh, okay.
I probably just offended so many people saying that. But dude,
it's
honestly,
not just Christianity, Miles.
It's not just that. I know. They even, I didn't even pay attention. They had a whole
really?
thing about their guy that was Saint somebody DePaul, I think, is why they named it after. See, but and he had, it's all a good mission. It's all fine and great and stuff. I'm just not religious or anything, but I'll have to take some classes I think I'm required to take a class on religion, going there. Not that I care, not that I really have much against. I just really have no interest as much. I do though. I'd love to just not with really popular religions in America, which popular religion is Christianity.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of that in my life. I went to Lutheran. Most everybody I know that's religious here is some form of Christianity, and I'd love to learn about other religions. Yeah. And that's the nice thing, is that DePaul is still very liberal, a liberal school, and so I do like that and appreciate that a lot more, just because a lot more open minded, and you can look into a lot more that way. Yeah. So they don't require that you take a class on their Jesuit background. They just require that you take a class on religion. Just so I could choose
any sort of religion.
I think so. I think I can just choose whatever religion and just take a class on that. So I would probably look at something I've always been interested in Hinduism.
Dude, I was just about to say Hinduism or Buddhism or anything like that.
I love the thought of reincarnation, that type of stuff. I think it's super cool. I'm not a religious person, but if I had to say what would be most probable, I would say reincarnation. I think some form of that.
Yeah, I was talking to Bulen last week about what I think happens after we die, and I think it's just nothingness afterwards. I think our consciousness just ceases to exist, and that's kind of my stance. But I think if there was a runner-up, if there was a second closest thing, I think reincarnation would be the next thing.
Yeah, well, and I'm a believer in science. My life is ruled by science, and that's kind of why I stray away from religion as much, because it's just a direct it's a direct opposite. It's miracles, miraculous things can happen, and that's true. I think things, but I think that for the most part, everything we do day to day is ruled by the science behind it. I can definitively say something scientific and it happens in front of me. Yeah. Whereas then other things are just kind of hypotheticals, or this did happen or could have happened or can happen. I don't know. But and so for me, if I had to if I had to think of how I could what happens after death, for me, I always think of, law of conservation of energy, law of conservation of mass. Everything that exists doesn't not exist. You can't create or destroy anything that's not already here. Yeah. That we know of here on Earth, right? So for me, I'm man, it would make sense in some way if I'm made of some energy, and we know that energy can't be created or destroyed. I think if I had to write something really philosophical, scientific, it would be proving the existence of a soul. Yeah. If somebody could prove that a soul actually exists as a form of energy, as a form of matter or something like that, then that could change a lot. That
For
could
sure.
that
Well,
would change. That would
absolutely.
change so much. And so so I'd like to think, because I like having a certain level of faith in things. I guess I like to like think there is a point in some capacity to life. I don't know, but so I like to believe we have souls. I like to think that would be a truth in some way. Then I think we fragment when we die. That energy fragments, does whatever, energy fragments. Well, we're also like, scientifically, we're all made of stardust and all that stuff. I don't really know. I'm not saying I've done all my research. I'm just saying this is what I think. Like we'd fragment apart, and then eventually you recreate and become one full form of energy. I like to think that maybe that explains deja vu. Maybe that's why we've seen things that we don't see before. Well, because there is a part of us, part of our energy that has experienced that before. So yeah, I know, right?
That's a very interesting way to look at it that I've never really considered before.
Yeah, that's why I like to think, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, no one knows, but that's this interesting idea. So basically, you said that our soul, if you will, is like sort of
it's a form of energy.
Yeah, and that energy, is conserved in some way, and then when like the next person is born, that like whether it be like your entire soul or just like a fragment or just like a bunch of fragments of different souls, that sort of coalesces into this new being.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fancy.
Yeah, no, I know, fancy.
And with that said, I need to take my third piss.
yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
No, you're all good. I'm gonna need one myself in a second here.
All
so
right. Yeah, you can. I'm gonna go first, and then if you need to go like soon after.
all good.
Did I mess up again? No, we're good.
No, you're fine, man.
All right, I'll be back.
Religious talk, very
This makes me need to pee so bad.
yeah. I can do a little bit of ASMR for everybody. I've also thought like how much I'm doing this into the camera, Daniel. Like I did that a few times. Like when I'm about to talk, I go, that has to be pretty annoying. So I'm trying to not do that, but we'll figure it all out. Thank you for the G Fuel, Daniel. It's very nice of you. This man did pay for 4 G Fuels. I don't know. Has he gone through a second one yet? I don't even know. But I am not yet done with my first one because I will not. I will crash so hard when I had too much caffeine. I just crash. It's like people get a lot of energy from caffeine, and I can, but generally it's not happening. It's not going to happen. Hey, Daniel.
What were you just talking about?
Oh, I was talking about. I just figured. I was like talking to you as if you were editing the video. Yeah.
I definitely kicked the camera, so I need to make sure. Oh, we're still good.
Yeah.
A little overexposed. Hold
on. I'll let you sort things out. I'm gonna use the bathroom too, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
Yay, pee break. Let's go. We're taking a pee break. We've been going for an hour 40.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. I'm chilling. It's a long podcast. Ooh. Guys, so Miles is out peeing, and this is by far my longest podcast. This is gonna take a fuck ton of time to edit. I literally, man, I hope one day that I can get like a producer to sit in the studio with me and just do the cameras on the spot. That's a very tall order. Even like if I'm doing it after the fact with my editing software, I can go back and make changes and like that's very nice. But doing it on the spot, I can't imagine, because while I'm editing, it's so easy to mess up all the time. It's so easy to get distracted. You really need someone to be on their game the entire time, and I just don't know who that would be. Of course, I brought it up to Ayush. I think he would be a great producer, but I was thinking of him more in the sense of like someone who is like really good at searching up things and bringing up videos, and like that could be him. But to do like the cameras and like searching at the same time, that would be so absurd. Dude, I was just talking about how much work this podcast is going to be.
Yeah, that will be a fun one, won't it?
This is going to be a fun podcast to edit because usually I just do an hour, not for any specific reason. It's just kind of like, usually once I hit an hour, that's like when I lose the energy to talk anymore. And,
I'll switch this one around.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all good.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
What was I saying? Oh, but yeah, with you, like I'm very comfortable with you, so it's easy for me to keep talking.
We're vibing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like the most relaxed I've been during a podcast ever.
We're gonna break the mold today, Dan.
Yeah, dude. I low key want to go to like 3 hours, but at the same time, I'm like, that's gonna be so much to edit after the fact.
Well, yeah, just take less pee breaks, and you won't have to edit as much.
You're right.
No,
You're right.
it, honestly, like I don't think there's been many moments here at the podcast where like we've been like, we've been talking the whole time. So I mean, it's just like. There's nothing really necessary to like edit out besides like
the
whatever.
Pee breaks.
Yeah, pee break.
Yeah.
Might even want to keep the first one in.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, I'll have to see what you said.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see.
I'm excited.
I know.
But yeah,
I was being a little cutie on the podcast today.
That's wholesome. Yeah, I was talking about how after all of this, I'm going to have to sit down and edit the entire thing because like when I edit these podcasts, like given with the software that I use Premiere Pro to edit. It actually makes it very painless. I can set it up so that all I have to do is press a number on my keyboard and it'll switch to that camera.
That's what I was going to say, man. Do you have to manually switch those cameras or is it like set up so like when you hear the voice of a specific person, it'll just automatically pan or switch to it?
No, I have to sit through the whole thing and like switch the cameras myself.
Yeah, it might be a little bit till this podcast comes out.
No, it's going to come out on Saturday.
It's
going every Saturday. There is.
Oh, it's Saturday. That day has to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Every Saturday at midnight, podcast goes up no matter what. Yeah. That's kind of the goal I set, and I don't give myself any leeway in that.
Dedication.
Absolutely, but like literally every minute that this podcast goes, there's probably another 2 minutes of editing.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I'm not.
You'll find the time.
I will. And we're recording this earlier than I record most podcasts.
Yeah.
I usually do like the Wednesday or a couple of times. I've even done the Thursday before, which gets really tight.
Yeah. Well, you texted me. You were like, Miles, let's do a 10-hour podcast. Like a total joke. But
I was joking about that, but I would not have mind. I don't mind doing a long podcast with you.
Yeah, I can happily come back anytime. You know me.
Oh yeah, dude. That's another thing. Like, I'm gonna run out of guests. There's no way around that. Everyone's moving off to college, which is fine, and maybe some people will come back on the podcast. But like, if I'm stuck here in Rockford, or maybe even a worse situation would be if I moved off, then I really don't know anyone.
Yeah, that's true.
But I like if I'm still here in Rockford and you're still like in Chicago or nearby,
I'll be back.
Like this could very easily turn into like a Daniel and Miles show.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, because my parents want me to stay up. I want to burp maybe.
Okay, go for it. Dude, I burp literally all the time on the podcast.
I know.
It's like anytime I'm doing this, that's me burping.
Yeah,
I
know.
I
try
absurd.
To just like very vaguely back up.
Yeah.
God, what was I saying? Being up in Chicago, like all that stuff. When I leave, like my parents want me to stay up there and like, really take in the college experience. And trust me, I want to do that too. Don't get me wrong. One of the biggest things for me is like honestly, and you'll be like, oh, so touching. My two big attachments besides my family, let me just put that out there before anybody's like, Miles. My two biggest attachments here are you and my girlfriend.
Aww.
Like that, it is like outside of my family, of course, like you two are the two people that I'll look forward to coming back home to, like, cause like that's what I'll be doing. I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna visit my family, and I'll be like, I'm gonna see my girlfriend, and then I'm gonna see Daniel. And if we've been in contact, then we'll probably have something planned to do when I come back.
I'm flattered, Miles.
Yeah, exactly. Flattering.
You sweet little boy.
I know. I'm so cute. Like,
Dude, I don't really remember how I met you, and even after I met you, like I don't really. It was definitely through Mike how we like started like actually being like really close friends.
Well, Mike was my friend when I came sophomore year, and we started to Guilford. And that's when I got in touch with Mike. Mike and I don't think I think the reason why Mike and I weren't friends earlier was the whole I'm gonna leave people unnamed, but the whole my kind of beef with some people. I don't know what it was. Today I don't care, but back then I don't know why. It was just some guy who really didn't like me, and he was Mike's really good friend. So I don't know really what kind of went down there, but it made it so I really didn't hang around anybody who was hanging with that guy, and so that was Mike, and and so I have no problem. I'm a really cool guy now. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, I don't know what it was. Just back then, we were young, immature kids. Yeah, that's what happens. Like we
just pull random shit like that on each other.
Yeah, and so that's probably why I wasn't really like talking to Mike much or anything. But yeah, I know when I came back in, Mike and Jeff were like the two people that weren't in the like soccer clique. I think Mike was in the soccer clique.
Mike is definitely in the soccer clique.
He was, but like he didn't care as much about it, I think. Like he really didn't care. So I remember I still have videos of the first day I went over to his house and I met Bingo. And his dogs are just he has the best pug in the world. He is the most disgusting. The most disgusting. His face looks like you've squashed something in, but he's like the funniest. Yeah, it's like, he looks like he came out the womb and the doctor punched him in the face.
That's a perfect description of Bingo. Probably soul. One of my favorite dogs, though.
Yeah, no, he's a sweetie, but he's just like, oh, you're disgusting. He snorts to breathe, man. It was like, yeah, you could put him on it. Imagine putting him up to a microphone and just letting him breathe.
It would just be,
that's basically what it is. Oh, that hurt. That made my ears feel.
Oh, did it?
No, you're totally fine. That was, but that dog is insane. And so I have a couple of really good videos. The first time I was over there, Bingo just looking like a fucking idiot. But yeah, that I met Mike, and eventually Mike was like, man, I like always go to Daniel's. You're just going to Daniel's with me. I was like, okay. And we vibed out here. I remember I was like, dude, your basement is sick. I love the basement. And so, God, I remember still junior year or the sophomore summer. So summer going into my junior year, Mike and I, and you were part of it, but like Mike and I literally spent like 20 something days straight together.
Really?
Like, we got up and hung out for like almost a month straight.
Really?
And I'd say about 75% of the time we went to your house.
Yeah.
So I saw you a ton too. Don't get me but I remember Mike was always. At some point in the day, we didn't have anything. We weren't doing anything. We were still not like at that age where you were working very much, but we became really good friends at that point. So every day would be like, what you up to? Not much. You want to come over? Yeah. And so that's what it turned into. And it was back when we had all the girl talking and drama and all that stuff. And so we'd always be like, oh, I gotta talk to you about this. Come over, like come. I remember Mike would like come pick me up, like just like, hey, I got news. Come talk to me real quick. I'll come pick you up. I was like, okay. Like I'm like, I don't have anything to do. My parents actually got like kind of. I wouldn't say mad, but they got frustrated at how much I was spending time with Mike. They're like, dude, I understand like you guys are good friends, but like, can you do something else? I was like, but I'm having so much fun. We're just doing our own thing. It's so cool. We're just like, that was also a really fun time for sure. So yeah, I that was, and yeah, we'd go over to your house like most of the time.
Yeah.
But I remember I was keeping the streak with Mike because we were like, after we were like, dude, we've been hanging out for like a week straight, and he's like, I know, and I'm like, let's just keep count. I was like, and so we were keeping count. We spent a lot of days together.
So what broke the streak?
I don't even know.
No.
I think something happened. Honestly, school might have been about to start or something like that.
That would make sense.
That was a really fun time. I remember. I look back fondly on those moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And so that's probably not that time in particular, but yeah, I met you through Mike.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. Yeah, but I remember like the thing that stood out about you was just how passionate you were about creative interests. And like I really liked and respected like that you were so into video gaming, and actually, because I think a lot of people, especially like even just a couple years ago, because there's been a ton of progress made with just like what's conventional for people, and like video gaming is gradually becoming very conventional, but take it 2 or 3 years ago, it was not nearly as big as it was. COVID made a big difference on that because everybody was in their house looking for something to do. So a lot of people turned to streaming and all that stuff just to pass the time. But before then, somebody said like, I want to do streaming. Everybody would be like, that's not a job. That's not a thing you can do. And now it's very much a thing you can do, I think.
It's very common nowadays.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I looked up a stat. Over 140,000 people have at least 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Damn.
Yeah, there are 140,000 people in the world who have 100K.
Got some competition.
Yeah. You're saying like, I'm looking to be a stat up there.
Make that one more than it already is.
Exactly. And so it's because it's like just getting so popular. And it's crazy because, having 100,000 subscribers 5 years ago, that was big. That was a lot of that's like having 1 million subscribers now or something like that, So it's crazy just how much the industry has changed and gotten so popular.
Yeah, that's actually something that kind of scares me going into this, because I'm always in the back of my head. I'm like, I wonder if I'm too late to this. I wonder if there's just so much competition now that I'm just gonna get drowned out.
No, but like personalities pop. And there is always going to be a huge competition in fields like this, no matter where you go.
You're right.
And so, if you think you got the style, everything and you have like an amazing setup. I think you edit your videos great. I just think it's just pushing out content and waiting. I think it's really is the biggest thing you can do. And like, I think you're off to a great start. Like honestly,
thank you.
Like that would be my like comment. I don't know. But so I'm really curious to see like where it goes for you, because honestly I have a vested interest in this type of thing too. I really like to do this type of stuff as well. Like I know you're really a playthrough type of guy. Like you like playing, but dude, I will hop on a video game online with you. I'll do that type of thing. Like it'd be really fun, I think.
Yeah, dude. I've been thinking about like all the videos that I could do with other people, and like, dude, I would love to do just like a ton of collabs with you.
Yeah, no, well, because I am one of the few other people who have the setup to like support and actually like have enough quality and like talking to you and stuff. So
because you have the microphone and you have like a decent enough computer that can like run games well, and then
and I made the mistake of getting a gaming laptop instead of a PC, but it still does.
Well,
the job.
that's what I started out with, convenient. And like a desktop is definitely the way to go eventually, but especially if you're like moving around a bunch, like a laptop is definitely good.
Well, and that's why I got it. At the time, I was like, man, I want something that I can both game and do music on. So I was like primarily gaming then, because you can do a lot on music on a lot of things. So I was like, but I was like, man, I kind of want it to be portable, because I know I'm going to want to go to places with my music or with them play games or whatever. And I especially because I was like, I know I'm going to go over to Daniel's and we're going to play video games. So I'd like to have a laptop. So that was the move I made. But I don't really regret it now, especially because now that I'm going to college, I've got a laptop that I can, like, I'm not worrying about buying a new laptop or anything like that. And so that's good. But I know I'm a little. I hope it lasts me as long as I want it to last me. That's where I get worried because I'm like, man, what if my computer just breaks down one day? I still need to back up all my music. I still haven't done it. If somebody were to take my computer and smash it right now, all my work would be gone.
No,
it would be crushing.
That's something I'm so
yeah.
paranoid about. Literally,
Yeah.
I have like an external hard drive hooked up to my computer, and literally every single video I make, I also put it on that hard drive just in case. Like I think my computer is fine. Like it's I don't think it's gonna break down anytime soon, but that's something I'm always paranoid about. That's something I always have in the back of my head. Like, what if? And that's I just make sure I back up literally everything so that if something does go wrong, then I can go to that like backup that I have.
Yeah, I need to move a lot of the music files that I have just onto the flash drive because I have a flash drive that I back up a lot of important stuff on.
Yeah,
but that's one
you're gonna need a hard drive for that.
I know, dude. I just have a flash drive right now, but yeah, for all my music, that'll be some
500 files.
Yeah, it's a lot of files to download. I don't know how many like gigs that'll be, but we'll see.
Well,
you can get good like flash drives, I think.
Yeah, dude, and hard drives even like they're not that expensive anymore.
Yeah,
yeah, especially like if you're just backing things up, you don't need like an SSD. All you really need is like a hard drive, and those get really cheap now. I got a 4 terabyte hard drive for my computer. This is an internal one, so it's a little different. But that was literally only like $90 for 4 terabytes.
Dude, let me tell you, I got a hard drive for my Xbox 360.
Oh.
That was, I think, 500 or a terabyte worth of data, but this is back when the Xbox 360 was the thing.
Dude, that's giant for back then.
So that, I think it was like $200-$300 for a terabyte.
Yeah.
And so you're over here $90 for 4. And I'm like, damn.
But the thing is that like the Xbox
that was huge.
That was huge back then.
Yeah, no, like after I had that, I was like, I don't need to worry about anything for like I'll never have to worry about losing storage for any video game that I ever play.
The thing is nowadays a terabyte is still like that's not even enough nowadays.
I know. Well, my computer, it has a terabyte worth of data. I made the mistake and I'm mad because I'll probably one day I'll have to go through the tedious process. I have to move all my music files.
Yeah.
I put it on my disk instead of the data drive. I have 2 drives. One of them, my actual computer drive, is 100 gigs.
Yeah.
And then there's an extra terabyte in a data drive. And I saved my disk for Ableton on the disk drive.
Yeah.
And I'm out of space on the disk drive, and there's all these updates for Ableton that come in, and all these extra music packs that I can download. And that's the awesome thing about Suite too. When you get Ableton Live Suite, everything they put on their store, about half the thing they put on there, it's free for people with Suite. So somebody comes out with a new pack, the company comes out with a new pack. Other people have to pay for it, but people with Suite, they just get it.
Yeah.
So it's really nice because now I have all these tools to work with. The problem is I don't have enough space for the tools anymore.
Yeah.
So I have to take all those music files, the whole Ableton thing, and move it to my data drive, which will take a long time.
It's actually not that huge of a process.
I worry about moving it wrong and then deleting my stuff.
Okay, yeah. I have to. All right. Yeah. I know I said I wasn't going to like criticize you too hard about things, but if there's one thing that worries me most it's watching you move files on your computer.
You watched me move files once, and it was when I was first getting used to computers. Yeah, and I was like an old man with it. I was so slow. I didn't know where I was going. I was like, what the? You were looking at me like, dude, like there,
just click
there.
Drag.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I was supposed to do that day. You would be much more impressed now. Okay,
I'm sure.
I got it.
I'm sure.
I'm going into computers for my major, so I got.
You better know how to move a file.
I gotta amp it up now, dude. There's gonna be so many people in college who are gonna outclass me in computers for sure. Like those people who can program like crazy already. Oh man, those are gonna be the standouts in class, and like I'm not worried at all. I think I'm gonna take my own route with it, and I think I'm gonna go the smart, strategic route. You know, because
what's that route?
I'm gonna absorb all the information from college and not use it for what the college wants me to use it for. I'm just gonna use it for doing something creative, like streaming or like whatever. You know what I mean? Because that's what I'd rather do. You know what I mean? I don't want to take that to some career where I gotta boss telling me what to do. Nobody wants a boss. I want to be my own boss.
Absolutely.
I want to sit down and talk to a person for 2 hours on a podcast. Like,
Yeah.
that would be like, that's so much better. Like, you know, I can do that and make money. My life, I'm good. I'm set.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
That's one thing I like about the path I'm taking is that like,
well, you're entertained all the way through, man. Like I feel like, you know, for the most part.
It's very I was gonna say it's very independent. Like the only people that you would really have to please is like advertisers, but in like the YouTube space or the streaming space or the podcast space, they're very, very lenient with what you do. But even if like they did try to constrain me in some way, I would just be like, nope, not interested. Dropping you. I'll find someone who better suits like what I want.
Are you gonna be one of those people? Today's sponsor is Raid Shadow Legend.
If they're a good sponsor,
dude, I know.
Like I do actually do like a sponsor with Anchor. That's just like that's just the platform I use to distribute the podcast to like Apple Music, Spotify, all that. Yeah, and I'm sure they give the sponsorship to like everyone who's on their platform, so it's not like that special of a thing. But it's super easy. All you have to do is do like a 30-second script of like you being like, "Oh, hey, Anchor's what I use to distribute my podcast." Yeah, and like it pays like decently. I mean, it's like $15 for every 1,000 listens, which is not bad.
That's nice. Like,
I don't get too many listens on like Spotify and all that. Most of the people who watch the podcast do it through YouTube. But if you listen on like now, I'm not telling you to listen on Spotify or Apple Music, but
I'm gonna tell them to listen right now.
But if you listen on Spotify or Apple Music, that's where my sponsor is, and that's where or Apple Podcasts rather. That's where I get my coin. And at the moment, I've made like 75 cents, which is not bad.
Okay, like I don't use Spotify. I'll probably go download it just for this reason. But
again, I'm not telling you to listen on there.
I know. I'm
just saying what happens.
We're gonna be like good cop, bad cop here. I know how many of you guys have Spotify. Okay, I know it. Y'all need to just go and just click on it. It takes like 2 seconds. And this guy gets what he deserves. Let's be honest.
And even if you don't pay for Spotify, you just have the free version. Podcasts don't usually give you ads.
I know, exactly. And you can watch us have a nice, crisp PewDiePie G Fuel. Not sponsored.
That's right.
Not sponsored.
We're not sponsored by anyone but Anchor.
But Anchor. Thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring this podcast.
I'll throw the sponsor message right after that.
Absolutely. Keep doing it every time. No.
No. What were we like? How did we get off on that tangent?
I don't even know. Last thing I remembered was talking about was you went for a pee break, right, as we were talking about.
That was a while ago.
I know. Well, like where I can remember something that I left off that like I was like the religion, like your soul gets split apart and that type of deal. Like,
here's what I wanted to say about reincarnation. I don't buy the shit that's like, oh, how you live this life is gonna determine
that like tier system they got going on.
That's gonna determine like how wealthy, how well off you are in your next life, or like what even like realm you reside in after like that kind of stuff. That's like pushing it. But I don't necessarily disagree with your idea that, you know, maybe like our soul is conserved in some way.
Yeah, well, and like life is random, okay? Like let's be really honest. Like I most likely did not do anything in my past life, whatever that was, like if in the event that I had a past life, you know, like you already get talking like, oh, this is how it is. But I'm gonna speak as though I'm speaking the truth, just because this is what I'm trying to get across here, and I can't keep going every time. Like, I can't back draw on everything that might be controversial. So sorry about that. God, my brain just died again.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. No, it's just really interesting. I don't think I probably am anywhere. I live my life I have a very heaven on earth mentality, okay? I know what I can do with my life right now, right here. I think that with everything, heaven is such an odd concept because I think, a lot of people argue the point like, oh, you go to heaven and it's all good and happy and there's no such thing as pain and there's no such thing. And I'm like, well, that's where reward happened. That's where you feel happy. Like, I don't know, like life is very beautiful to me. Like in every, like there is, don't get me wrong, there is some shit that can happen in life and you're like, how is this a real possible thing? But I always think, we easily could have a very, what we perceive as heaven is very attainable on earth, like where we are at right now. And, I live in a place that's like most people believe in like heaven and hell if you have a real religion for the most part. Like, I mean, that's most religions anyways. You're either good or you're bad. It's such a good and evil mentality a lot of the times. I just think there's a gray area. I think you just like, I live life like, man, this is the life I know. This is the life that I care about. There, I don't know what comes forward or before me, but like, I know I have this time. I honestly, I love my life the way that I have it, and I know there's that question like, man, if I can make you immortal, Daniel, would you take it? And a lot of people be like, no, I would never wouldn't want to live that long because there'd be so much pain and so much suffering. And I'm like, well, that's part of life, how like that's part of growth and experience and change. And if you can't handle the fact that when you're living, death does occur, that's how it is. I don't know. For me, I would automatically say yes. If somebody said I could be immortal, because I fear death. I don't want to die. I have a lot of stuff I want to do. And I honestly don't think that even at 100 years old, even at 1,000 years old, I'd come even close to doing all the things that I want to do. So that's where I would be like, yeah, absolutely make me immortal. I got so much crap I want to try to figure out and do. And yeah, and so I'd like to be a part of a field that possibly I could figure out how to extend the life of people, because we know we can live longer than we do right now.
I think I would turn down immortality, not because I want to avoid pain. I don't think like that. That's not like, I don't, not that I like pain, but that's not the reason I would turn it down. I would turn it down because I think if you live forever, that kind of defeats the purpose of life itself. I think if you live forever, then like, what is the drive for greatness now when, there is not, when you have an unlimited span of time to do whatever you want? The idea of death is sort of an incentive to do something great or do something better with your life now.
And that's true, but then counter argument, every time we talk about like all religions in some way, we just talk about living longer. That's all it is. Like you die, but then you just live again. Like, you know what I mean? Or you live, are we the same soul? Like Christianity is, you live forever in Christianity. You do. You have the same soul. Your soul never fragments. Like I talked about, like you die and you go up to heaven, you go to hell. And then you live life again. That's all you do. You go up to heaven and everybody's like, well, what is heaven? Well, it's whatever you want it to be. Well, if I just wanted to like not die yet when I go to heaven, does that mean I just get to keep living? Like what does that mean? It's an interesting thought because it's like, well, if you're just living more when you die, then you're technically, everybody still kind of technically strives to be immortal in some sense. There is a thought though, like, what if I want to start over? What if I want to live a different life? What if I want to do that type of thing?
And that's kind of where reincarnation comes in.
Exactly, and that's why I think it appeals to a lot of people too. Especially, and of course, reincarnation appeals because reincarnation, Hinduism, and the belief of like this tier system definitely came off because it's like, that's how people lived, and that was I would assume, and I'm just putting out my thoughts with they made that tier system because they wanted poor people to believe in it too. Like, you know, well, what's the point for poor people if, like, with Hinduism, if we're living a shitty life now? Oh, well, if you live your life by these philosophies, then you can be a rich person in a happy life. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, now we'll do what you want to do. Like, you know what I mean? That type of deal. But I always think there's a very beautiful philosophy in religion. The issue, I think, is that it gets so skewed in politics and all that other stuff. It's just like, it takes away the point of religion a lot of times.
I don't have a problem with religion at all. I think it's a good I think I think that a religious mindset, just this idea that you have to, because a lot of religions are about like doing good in this life, during this life, to attain happiness afterwards. And I think that if that's the driving factor, then like that will drive you to be a better person in this life. It'll make you a happier person when you are doing good. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. Again, going to your idea, like, you know, once you get political about it, that's when everything gets skewed. But I did want to say, I think the idea of heaven kind of rubs me the wrong way, because I think just looking at it logically, like going to this idea of, you know, if life were infinite, then that defeats the purpose of life. But taking that further, like if heaven did exist, let's just assume it does. If it's a happier place than life, what life is now, then why even live life? Why doesn't everyone just automatically go to heaven? If that's like the happiest place, then then what God would wish upon like the people that he creates to live through like this terrible time? If, you know, if in the end they're just gonna end up in somewhere happier.
Well, and there's no time. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Can I just make one more point? And then if heaven is less happy than life right now, then it's just a punishment. What would be the point of living life now if you just end up in a worse place in the end? Yeah,
well, and that's the thing. There's no I don't think anywhere, I could be totally wrong, because again, I don't do my fact checking, but I don't think there's any place in the Bible that there's a time limit that you need to live before Christianity, like before you can be accepted into heaven. All you have to do is follow the practices perfectly, and if you don't, ask for forgiveness. Well, if you think, man, I've lived my life with purpose, and I've asked for forgiveness, and I believe that I've been forgiven for my misdeeds, all the way up until this point, and heaven awaits me, you know. It's such a it's a fucked up thought, but it's like, well, why do I need to live anymore? Right now I could just go to heaven if I'm all good, if I'm clear in God's conscience, you know. So it's a odd thing, but then it's like, well, is it a sin to then stop living life now? Well, you still have to love thy neighbor and do all these things, and so it's like, but at what point do you I think what people might argue is that, well, you let your death be in God's hands, and then you live your life to the fullest until that point, and God will pull you out of life, or life will pull you out of life when that happens. But for you to personally take your life to go to heaven would be a sin, maybe, and then you would go to hell. And what is hell? I don't. It's just bad version of heaven, I guess.
My mindset has always just been like, I'm gonna live my life and try to be the best person that I can be. I want to be a good person. I want to be, you know, I want to love thy neighbor, on my own terms, not necessarily in a religious sense, but I want to be a good person. And look, we don't really know if God is real, if there is no God. Like we just don't know. I lean towards probably no, but again, we just don't know.
That's where I'm at too.
Yeah, I think. I just want to be a good person, and if that let's assume that there is a heaven, and if I'm a good person, then I should go to heaven, and like God wouldn't condemn me for being a good person, even if I don't necessarily have a relationship with him. And if I am a good person and I still end up in hell because I didn't have that relationship with the God, or I didn't devote my life to him, then that's not a God that I want to serve in the first place, because that's a selfish being. He doesn't care where your morals stand. He just all he cares about is like how your relationship is with him.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're like, well, what does God want? Does God want what I want? Am I like, like where does that go? And again, that like basically what you're saying, a very heaven on earth philosophy. I want to be happy. I want to feel the feeling of happy for as long as I possibly can while I'm on Earth. That's my goal. That's all I want to be. I just want to be happy. That's what everybody wants, and we all experience that. And sometimes we have to go through hardships to have an even greater euphoria, you happiness. Absolutely. And so that's where I'm kind of like, well, man, how do you always constantly feel happy or amazing when there is no hardship or where's that reward? How can you feel that in heaven if there's no bad, if there's no anything? And sometimes I think people would argue, well, heaven is what you want it to be in that sense. Then, whatever you want, if you want to endure hardship to then have greater happiness, then you could do that in heaven. I don't really know, but all I know and all I really live my life by is that I have the life that I have right now. I personally love it. I'd love to live longer than 100 years if I could. Of course, immortality. It's a controversial subject, at a certain point, I think I would like to live a different life or do something else but until then, I think I just got a lot to, I got a lot to do. I got a lot I want to see and the world is constantly changing. And so I think it's in a lot, it can be chaotic and it can be too much for people. But for me, right now where I'm in my life, and I hope I keep this mentality all the way through, is just, I always think all the change in the world can be very beautiful. And, sometimes you have to look past a lot of the bullshit that happens, don't let it go, don't not pay attention to it, when bad shit happens, a lot of stuff go down where over the last couple of years. And the solution isn't bury your head in the sand and wait for it to blow over. You have to be conscious. You have to be, willing to make a change. But it is hard because at what point are you sacrificing your own personal happiness for others? And that's where I would say the hero complex comes in. A true hero is somebody who is so happy, finds all happiness in being completely selfless and doing everything that they do for the good of other people. And that's that I would die for you and be happy doing that. You know what I mean? I don't mean to come off like a not hero, but I'll do a lot of things for people, but I probably won't die for you unless that would be something that's so traumatizing to me. I wouldn't like my life anymore. But, there's a level of I got to do things in my life. I got to do things for myself at some point, and I got to do things for other people. It just goes back and forth. And a true hero would be somebody that doesn't need anything for themselves. They find all their happiness in helping other people. And I would think a lot of people have that level of selflessness. I think there's an innate amount of selflessness in every person, but I think, we also have selfishness. We also have things that we need to just do for ourselves, and that's not bad either. You know what I mean? We all need our own downtime. We all can't always be sacrificing what we want because eventually, you're tired as shit. You feel bad, you know what I mean? So you have to be able to focus back and forth because I can't go my whole life, I can't give every penny I have to every homeless person I can find, but I also can't walk by and never give a homeless person any money. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be content either way, you know? So there's a fine balance with all of that. And so, those are my things I live by, I guess. No, I don't know. But
real quick, could you actually move the microphone a little bit away from your face?
Yeah, I probably am speaking very...
Yeah, it's very close. Here, could you turn it also just a little more towards your face? Yeah. Just that's probably fine. It's well, once you get really, really close and really, really loud, it gets it messes with the microphone a little bit.
To the microphone.
Yeah, I get it.
No, it's my bad.
No, you're good.
I've thought about that. When you walked away the second time for your pee break, I was like, dude, I've been doing a lot of into the microphone. I'm like, I'm gonna try to not do that. But yeah,
that's actually something that people don't really notice. Just all the clicks. All that stuff, every time you go to talk, that's actually something I try to edit out of my usual, my normal YouTube videos that I do.
Yeah.
But in a podcast where you're just listening to people talk, I know it's easy to get kind of self-conscious about those things. Like
Yeah.
you want to make sure that, you know, you're not stumbling over your words. You don't want to like, you know, make that clicky noise all the time. You don't want to like cough into the mic all the time.
Yeah.
But like, it's actually really easy to ignore those things if you're just a listener.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you're not really paying so much attention to the podcast that you notice every single click. I mean, now that we're pointing it out, maybe people will notice.
Yeah.
But if you're just listening to a podcast, it's not really something you pay attention to because it is just like a normal thing that happens.
Well, I hope we haven't been having a good conversation. I'm like, hello, everybody. You know, like,
I have to admit that's kind of how it was for like the past half hour. But you were making really good points, so I didn't want to really interrupt your flow.
Oh gosh, if I do that, man, in or out, because I don't want to be like exploding the microphone.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, but like whatever distance you're at now, that's really good.
Okay, all right, yeah, I'll try to keep myself
very crisp.
Oh. You know, I don't have a radio voice. I don't think there's like very few people that I know that have a voice for radio.
Dude, Steve Shannon, or is that his name? Yeah.
If there's one person that I know that like just personally within our group is Aegis.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't know what type of genes were passed down to him, but they were the lowest ones.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think that's one thing with a lot of people. Like I don't think there's one person who like if they listen to themselves back on like a video or any other recording of their voice, like they don't listen to that and go, "Oh, I love my voice." I absolutely maybe there are people that are that like I guess egotistic to think that, but I think it's important to realize that your voice doesn't actually suck that bad. You're just nitpicking at yourself because like you want yourself to be better than you actually think you are.
Yeah.
But you have to remember that, you know, not everyone around you is really nitpicking you like that. Like I'm not too keen on my voice. I don't necessarily think I have a bad voice, but I wouldn't call myself like I wouldn't say that my voice is like what you said, a radio voice.
Yeah,
but
you don't have to have one either. It's just like, you know, some people benefit from that.
Yeah,
man.
but at the same time, I've also had people say to me like, "Oh, you have a really nice voice," and I appreciate it a ton.
Yeah.
I'm flattered, but also like I just don't.
Yeah, I don't hear that. Yeah, I don't hear that.
But let me tell you right now, Miles, you sound perfectly fine.
Oh, perfect, great. Sorry, I think I was good for a solid point, but yeah, at the end, I was thinking about that. I'm like, am I too close to the mic? I don't know.
That's another good thing about the headphones is I can like monitor like what you're hearing because like I do some like EQing and some post processing afterwards, but it's not a whole lot. So for the most part, what you hear going into the microphone is what's gonna come out in the end. That's what people are gonna hear when they're listening back to the podcast.
Yeah. So, collaboration.
Yes.
Talking about that. There are a lot of games, you know. I excel at. I do quite well.
You are.
Get some. I'm good at the shooter games. Let's just be real. That's my
dude. I would. Wait, what'd you hit? Yeah, dude, you are like really good at video games. Like watching you play something like Fortnite, it's just like I could never get into Fortnite, but like there's something about the watching the way you play and seeing how you like plan things out and how you like kind of like you're considering like not only what you're doing, but you're also like looking for what other people are doing. It's just like I could never really do that. Like, I don't really think of myself as, even though I do gaming content, I'm not a very good gamer because I'm like, I don't really like consider, I can't think that far ahead in games. I'm very focused on what's happening in the moment.
Yeah, and I'm done with Fortnite, man. Oh my God, that game is over. But yeah, just make fun of just how stupid I was with some of that stuff. But yeah, I loved as a kid. I loved Black Ops 2. That was my game as a kid.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most skill enhancing games I could have played. Hand-eye coordination stuff. I was one of those kids that was like super into sniping.
Oh yeah.
So I was all about quick scoping, all about doing that. You know, I'd be getting into the end. I got to a point where I really played, and I was playing, and I would like average on games like a 30 KD with like 3 or 4
Damn!
deaths, and like a
Look at that.
regular Black Ops game that you go to like 75 kills or whatever. So I'd be close to like one. Yeah, I think the most kills I have ever gotten. We're talking old shit right now. The most kills I ever got in a game, I think it was 40. Like almost 40. It was like 39, I think.
Holy shit. Phase Miles.
Dude, honestly, there was a point where I'm like, dude, I could be in phase easy. Like I did some crazy shit. But that was my that was my go-to game. And yeah, I had like 39 kills in one game, and it was like not big. It was in World War II. That Call of Duty. I played that one a lot, and I played Black Ops 2, and those are really the only Black Ops that I ever got into.
Yeah.
And then I moved into like Fortnite and then Apex, and
Yeah.
I really haven't gamed as much anymore. I did Valorant. I got into Valorant for a while.
That's
too.
something I want to play with you. I have it on my computer actually. Once you told me to get it, I haven't touched it, and I'm kind of waiting for us to play that together sometime.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, anytime. Yeah, hit me up. As long as I'm home, and you'll probably find me home. My shifts are always 10 to 3, so after 10 to 3, like we'll figure it all out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Valorant, I'm not as good at in some other games, but Valorant, I've had some moments. I've had some clippable moments in those types of games. But yeah, it'd be fun to play if how to play with you. You find a group of people. I'd absolutely, I think it'd be real fun to get like a group of guys who want to play regularly or whatever. Because I think not only like it's super fun, but you make a lot of content out of that.
Yeah,
I think it'd
dude,
be really fun.
You can make content on your own, but there's something about like interactions that like not that I necessarily prefer videos where there's a lot of interaction, but it's certainly like a gem anytime you watch a video and it's not just like one person gaming, but it's a bunch of people playing together and they're like talking shit, talking smack, and there's just something fun about that. So that is something I want to get more into.
Well, I think some of the best like humorous clips out there, those are from interactions with people. You know what I mean? So yeah, not to say that you can't be successful off of like, gameplay and that type of thing, because you look at people like Markiplier, those mainly like Let's Players, all those types of people. But I personally do enjoy like watching people who have like groups and like just funny groups of guys. I always love that. And so yeah, I think it'd be fun to do that. I think it'd be fun to be a part of, and that's something that you can do even when I'm off at college. Like of course I'm gonna be busy in college and stuff, but hopefully we can find times where you can get a call in Discord or whatever and play some games. And
yeah, dude,
it'd be fun to get some content out there and be fun. Yeah,
dude, it would be a ton of fun.
Yeah, I think like Valorant, play Apex. You would not. Apex is hard.
Yeah,
it is a really hard game to get acquainted to, but that is also a game that I really like.
Yeah, dude. I have to admit, like these multiplayer games are not really my cup of tea.
I know.
It's just I'm mostly into these story-based games, and like
I love them too. Detroit Become Human.
You were big into that. That's actually a game that I was not hugely into.
Yeah, I know. I like every person that was one of my favorite games ever.
Really?
I completed Detroit Become Human in 2 days.
At my house.
At his house. He fell asleep.
No, you finished it in one night.
No, I finished it in two
okay,
nights.
you're
Two
right,
nights.
you're right.
I came back and finished it.
Right. My
But
mistake.
it was about 20 hours of playthrough. And yeah, he was in bed by 1. I was in bed by like 6.
I remember waking up in the middle of the night and you were still playing, and I'm just like,
and I was like, Daniel, big decision coming up, and you were like, what? Are you awake right now? Like, no. It was those were good times. That was like, but no game honestly was like, because I had never had such a high quality game that was choose your choice, story based. I love choose your action games.
Yeah.
Things that have a really great storyline, but you're involved with the storyline, because I think there is a level of like, I don't know, disappointment for me when I'm going through a story game, knowing no matter what I do, the outcome of the game doesn't change.
Yeah.
Like you're just kind of watching a movie almost, but you're like playing the game too. Like, and I do love those games, like The Last of Us, a game like that is same thing, but it was awesome, really amazing. But
Yeah.
I do. There's a level of being able, like, what I do can change the outcome of how the game ends for me. I love that. That's one of my favorite things in games. That's why I love Skyrim. I love Detroit Become Human. I never played it, but I watched like every playthrough of every different route and like Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Those games were awesome. And so I was like, those ones I had always been really interested in. I never really got to play a lot of them myself until Detroit Become Human, though. Because like Until Dawn, you know, it was a gory, upsetting game.
Yeah.
So I think my mom would be like, Miles, what are you doing? Like, you know, like I've had there was one moment, The Last of Us, I never got to finish that game.
What?
Well, I got to finish it, but I had to wait like 2-3 years before I could play the whole thing. I remember I borrowed it from you.
Oh, yeah.
I borrowed it, but I had to borrow the first one too because I never finished it. Because my mom came into the room halfway through, and it was during one of the worst scenes in the game where Ellie has a knife.
Oh, yep.
So my mom walks in, and you're getting attacked. You like, it's the encounter where you like meet like they're nice people, but you meet them and they think you're bad guys. So you guys get in like a wrestling match for a moment and like have a standoff. And my mom walks in and there's this like little girl all bloody with a knife in her hand and like this big thug guy like running at her. And she's like, what is this? And I'm like, and she's like, I knew this was going to be like a gory zombie game, but you didn't tell me there were children in it. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I'm returning this to the store. Cause I was like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
My mother was very like, you know, conservative about the games that I got to play because she didn't want me to like grow up and be like a terrible person, I guess. And so she took that away from me, and then I was so into the game. I was like, oh, the game is awesome. And halfway through, my mom was like, you're returning this to the store. You're not getting this. I was like, are you serious? This was such a good game. So yeah, about a year or two later, I got you to give me the game.
Yeah.
So it was when The Last of Us 2 came out. And I was like, actually old enough to where my mom like was just like, okay, you're gonna do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so then I got to play all that and see the end. But it was like, man, the fact that I had to wait like 2 years to see the end of the game, I was like, oh, that sucks so much. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, and I lent you the second one too.
Yep.
And then I also lent you God of War, which you have not finished.
I haven't finished it yet. Dude, I've had that game for 2 years, a year or two. Yeah.
Yep.
It's been 2 years because not that you need to play it, I guess.
Yeah, no, I've played through it like 2 or 3 times. I
got
don't
to
need it again.
A really hard point in the game. It was just like, I don't even think it's hard. It was just one of those puzzles that like there's a really obvious solution and I just can't find it probably. And I got stuck and I got so frustrated. Spent like a half an hour trying to figure out what the hell to do, and I just turned it off, and I just never had the motivation to get back into it again. So I was like, and I think I got myself kind of out of the storyline because I was trying to 100% the game because I knew I was only going to have it from you once, and then once I gave it back, I wasn't going to be able to play it anymore. So I'm like, I want the full game experience. So I'm going to do all the side missions before I leave an area and do all that type of stuff. So yeah, I played so much of that game. But I got to the certain point where I was just like, man, I can't play this anymore. And so I could probably pick it back up, but I'm just like, because I'm curious, because I never got to see what the end of the game looked like. Yeah. But it was really interesting because, I want to finish it, but I just haven't gotten to it. So yeah, I know you've lent me a few really good games because like, I don't want to pay for them.
Yeah, dude, I really don't mind because those are just like story games. It's like once I finish it, I don't need to pick it up again for a long time.
It's like a one-time playthrough. And so like, dude, I still love Detroit Become Human so much. I try to get people who like I run into who I know haven't played the game to play it just because I want to see them play it through and see what decisions they make and stuff. Because I don't know, I just find it so entertaining. Because like I love watching it just as much as I like playing it almost. Yeah. So it's one of the few things where I'm like, because I get bored watching somebody. A lot of people like I don't think you have an issue with it. I think it's because I'm a very like when I play video games, like I'm an instant gratification type of person where I'm like, I want to be playing, I want to be doing it. So like I don't like watching people play video games for very long. Like I'd like to be participating, but I think like you don't mind watching, really, do you? Not
I don't
much.
mind.
No, yeah. A lot of people that I know, my brother and a lot of his friends, they just like they'd be like, oh yeah, well, I'll just watch you play
Yeah.
or whatever. And I'm like, that's fine with me, but I know personally, I'm like, man, I don't want to watch somebody else play a video game. I want to play it. So yeah, it's always an interesting one.
But you did say that you enjoy watching people play something like Detroit Become Human, and I think, and that is because like, even though you may have played through it, but like since it is one of those games that has so many branching paths, each person gets sort of a personalized outcome.
Yeah,
and it's interesting to see like other people's mindsets through the game. Like you may have made this choice for this reason, but someone else may have made a different choice for a different reason, and somehow that leads you into two different paths.
I love Detroit because it was like you really revealed the nature of the people too, and that's what I like to see. Well, that's what I like to see. Like, you know, in Detroit, you either are a peaceful rebellion or a like warring rebellion, and you have to choose your path. I should have had a peaceful rebellion, but I did not have a peaceful rebellion because I messed up game. I messed up in the game. It wasn't like the decisions that I made, but there's an important part in the game. I guess spoiler to anybody who's like wanting to play the game. But there's a point in the game where you have to disarm a security system, and I was playing so much that day that like I was real tired, so my decision making wasn't quite as focused.
Yeah.
And there was like, okay, you've got to break into this store of androids and break them all out, and like that's part of the rebellion, and then we get to make our mark and tell people what we fight for. But you know, we have to do it correctly, and it was there. She said it was like we have to disarm the security systems and then get a truck and ram it through, or figure out how to open up this facility without triggering all the alarms. And I just dismantled everything except for the main security, the security cameras or whatever. And so they were like, and so I was like, all right, I did everything. I like 100% of this level, and I go and I crash the truck through it. And then like one of the characters, the person with you, they're like, oh, Marcus, you just did the whole, everybody knows we're here, we have to leave now. And so it's like, and I was like, what? When did I do this? How did I do this wrong? And so and so because of that, I wasn't able to I wasn't able to break them out like without the police coming. So I couldn't spray paint like my symbol of like my message to anybody.
You had to like fight your way out.
Yeah.
Instead.
So the message on the news was, Android man crashes truck into like into the store, and like what do androids want? They didn't even do anything. He just crashed the truck into the store without like liberating, because you don't have a chance to like liberate everybody in the store or whatever. And so it was so bad, because I'm like, man, my public opinion just went down in the shitter. Like I was supposed to, you're supposed to do it and you're supposed to make a message, but I didn't get a message. So I was just the guy that rammed the truck into the like side of a store. So then when I went to go do like the protest scene afterwards, it didn't give me the option to like, we want peace. It was only like, I crashed a truck into the store. And so I was like, well, don't have that option anymore. And so just that one mistake, because that was like one of the only mistakes I made in the game, caused me to go down a path that just sucked. It just sucked. I get a lot more people killed than I probably would have had to in that playthrough. But you know, it was my... That's how it would have happened with me. That was my playthrough, but it was disappointing because I'm like, man, I did everything else right in that. So yeah, there you go.
Hey Miles, guess what?
What?
Fourth P break.
I
think that's the number.
Dude, I've been in the shining light for so long. I'm starting to get like sweatier. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Hold on, I'll be back. We'll be right back.
Yep.
He's back.
I am back.
With the mic, you know, you can hear everything. So.
Oh, did you hear me peeing?
No. That would have been sick.
Well, Miles, I know you were talking about how you're kind of getting sweaty from all the lights, so we can actually wrap this up pretty soon.
I was going to say.
We're actually, you want to guess how long we're into the podcast?
When did we start?
We started at probably between 6:30 and 7.
We've been like 3 hours into the podcast.
That's actually pretty close.
Yeah.
We're 2 hours, 47 minutes into the podcast. This is
record breaking. No.
almost twice as long as my longest podcast so far, which was with Belen, which I think was like an hour 20, hour 25.
Absolutely.
So we can actually start. We can wrap this up soon. I know it's been a long conversation. I think if I want, I think the way that I want to end this out is I am very excited that you are not going far for college.
Yeah, even if I was, I'd still keep in contact with you. You know, we'd probably find something to do online.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I'm gonna be here. Whether I want to or be or not, like I don't, I'm just gonna be making videos and whatnot. And unfortunately, a lot of the people who I'm super close with, or like people who I could potentially be close with, like Isaac or Ayush, they're going off really far. And Mike, who I've known forever, he's going to Asheville. So
North
like
Carolina.
I know, that's so absurd.
I thought he was gonna go to NIU.
I know, it would have been good.
We could have stayed in the area.
I know. That would have been tight, but I'm super glad that all those people, especially Mike, that like they're following where they want to go. But I'm also happy that I do have at least one person that I can like stay in touch with.
Yeah, I'll be home.
Yeah, dude, and I'm super stoked that it's you because like as far as like everyone I know, like I would probably rank you as, you know, maybe even like at the top as like one of the most personable people that I know.
Get fucked.
And that's not to discredit anyone else, but you are just like a very genuine and like easy to talk to person. You're very open about things, and you have no problem sharing your opinion, and like you are really good at just like talking for a long time. So like I'm like super glad that like if anyone was gonna stay, I'm glad that it's you.
Well, I think we share a lot of similar passions, so I think, you know, in the long run, because this is what your focus is gonna be. And not to like, you know, I'm not discrediting anybody. I think everybody would be like very supportive of what you do. But I think I'm probably one of the few people that has an active interest and would get involved with something that you would want to do. And so I think, you know, not that I think like, I don't know, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm great, but like like I'm confident with myself, so I don't have any problem putting myself out there and like figuring out stuff, even if, you know, with you or by myself or whatever, you know, I'll figure out what I'm going for. But I love this type of thing. It's always really fun to do something new and interesting, because God, is everybody looking for it. Like we're all looking for something new to do. That's why I'm going up to Chicago. That's why I'm doing all that stuff. So it you know, anytime, any place, you know.
Yes, Miles.
Call me up.
I would love that. Well, with that said, let's wrap this up. We're at 250.
Have fun editing.
This is gonna be a long podcast to edit, but I will get it done by Saturday.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Miles, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you for making it last as long as it did.
I know. Content for days.
Absolutely. But
no, it's been an awesome time, you know. Literally, like, most of this has been like a regular hangout session with Daniel Strohman.
Yeah, it has literally just been like a normal conversation that we would have.
We got a little more depth, and we definitely talked for, well, I don't know if we talked for a lot longer than sometimes.
Yeah, there are nights where
I just talk.
Yeah, usually that is the case. Usually it is just you talking and me listening.
Yeah,
which I don't mind.
I know.
If there's one thing I would say I'm good at, it's probably listening.
Yeah, and that pairs very well with me. So,
because
no wonder it works out nice.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, dude, I'm so stoked that you're staying kind of in the area. So
yeah. So you'll probably once I get comfortable in the area, it'll probably be every 2 weeks, I would guess.
Yeah.
That I would come back, and then I'll be there probably Friday, Saturday. So we'll figure it all out.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, thank you, Miles.
Yeah,
and
anytime.
Thank you for listening. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, see you.